I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like for everyone to rise for the presentation of the colors.
Left, left, color guard, halt, right turn, march, present, colors.
I'd like to ask our student from Warm Springs, Mr. Emiliano, to come down and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag individual and to the flag which stands one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Carry, colors. Right turn, march. Forward, march. Left, left.
I'd like to thank the color guard and Mr. Emiliano from Warm Springs. He told me he was shy, but he's willing to do it. Give him a round of applause. Approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
So moved and second. Vote, please. Mr. Hernandez Nunez.
Aye.
Ms. Rojo
Aye.
and Ms. Rosenblum.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. That brings us to section 2, special presentations and recognitions.
Good evening and thank you, President Tillman. My name is Maria Garcia and I am the Communications Manager for the school district. Before I introduce our presentation, I would like to invite our board members, Superintendent Mauricio Arellano, and our executive cabinet to please make their way to the reserved seats at the front so you can enjoy a special performance. You're going to sit so you can enjoy. Esteemed guests and valued members of the Warm Springs Elementary community, welcome to our awards program for this evening. Tonight, we have the distinct pleasure of recognizing the incredible achievements of our very own Warm Springs Elementary Dolphins cheer team. Just a few short weeks ago, these cheerleaders showcased their unparalleled talent, dedication, and teamwork at the State Cheerleading Championship at Knott's Berry Farm, competing, that's right, competing against schools from across the state. The team demonstrated exceptional skill, grace, and spirit, ultimately emerging victorious as the state champions. And that's why today we're gathered to celebrate their remarkable accomplishment and also to express our heartfelt gratitude for their commitment to excellence. So before we continue, let us witness firsthand a modified version of the electrifying performance that captivated audiences and earned them the title of state champs. Welcome, Warm Springs Dolphin cheer team.
It don't matter what you wear, check it out yourself. It don't matter what you do, 'cause everything looks good on you. That all work. I was you, I wanna be me. Wanna be me too. I was you, I wanna be me too. Wanna be me. Work.
Let's hear it for our Warm Spring cheerleaders. Please hold because we're going to be taking some photos. And it's okay to bring the state trophy, please. Yes, board members may now return to the dais and executive cabinet too. As they file out, we would really like to hear it one more time for our cheerleaders. And now, at this time, we are going to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of the Warm Springs principal, Dr. Hoonhib, and the coaches who have played an integral role in their journey to the top. So I would now like to invite forward the leader of Warm Springs Elementary School, Dr. Hoonhib, and cheer coach extraordinaire, teacher Miss Lorena Flores Sanz. So as they take photos, I would like to tell the Warm Springs Dolphins cheer team, congratulations on your well-deserved victory, and may your spirits continue to shine brightly, illuminating the path to even greater success in the future. Great job. And at this time, we're going to honor a special principal who is pretty much the talk of the town recently, with his high school earning coveted state and national awards. I now invite Mr. Hector Murrieta, principal of Sierra High School, to join the board and Superintendent Arellano. Hector's got quite a fan section back there. Hector is the recipient of the 2024 California Continuation Education Administrator of the Year Award from the California Continuation Education Association. He was selected for this award based on his outstanding commitment to ensuring that continuation high school students receive wraparound services that focus on the whole student. Under Hector's leadership, Sierra High School recently earned national recognition as one of America's healthiest schools. And the campus was also honored by the California Department of Education as a model continuation high school. Congratulations to Sierra and Principal Hector Murrieta. And now for our final honoree, Dr. Juanita Watkins. Dr. Watkins is the winner of the Dorothy Ingram Educator of the Year Award and the brand new Dr. Watkins. Doesn't that sound good? Yes, it does. Dr. Watkins is the principal of Lancashire Elementary School. Dr. Watkins is a powerhouse in the field of education with a diverse and extensive background that showcases her unwavering commitment to equity and justice. From her leadership as principal of Lancashire Elementary to her role as an adjunct professor at the University of Redlands, Juanita is dedicated to creating inclusive and empowering educational experiences for underserved populations. And she deserves an extra round of applause because Juanita just earned a doctorate in education from the University of Redlands. And that doctorate focuses on leadership for educational justice. Let's put our hands together once again for Dr. Watkins. Congratulations to all of tonight's honorees. This now concludes our celebration for this evening. We'll see you next Tuesday at Indian Springs High School for our annual Employee Appreciation Reception. Thank you for joining us tonight.
That brings us to 2.4, recognition of National Teacher Appreciation Week, California Day of the Teacher, and San Bernardino City Unified School District Day of the Teacher. I'd like to ask Mr. Husky to read that for us.
Thank you. Proud to do so as a former SBCUSD teacher. Whereas National Teacher Appreciation Week is observed annually during the first full week in May and sponsored by the National PTA. Whereas the second Wednesday in May is recognized as California Day of the Teacher, which arose out of legislation co-sponsored by the California Teachers Association and the Association of Mexican American Educators and adopted in 1982. And whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, spending countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling, and coaching students. And whereas teachers have been responsible for educating millions of students since the state's founding and have led efforts to promote and advance educational opportunities for all. And whereas a strong, effective system of free public education for all children and youth is essential to our democratic system of government. And whereas May 10th, 2024 is the day San Bernardino City Unified School District honors its teachers who are second to none in their chosen profession. And whereas, despite the challenges facing our students, families, and community, our teachers continue to work tirelessly to provide student instruction, and their immense work provides a sense of community and connection. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District proclaims the week of May 6th through May 10th, 2024 as National Teacher Appreciation Week, and May 8th, 2024 as California Day of the Teacher, and urges all citizens to pay tribute to our public school teachers. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education proclaims May 10th, 2024 as the day to celebrate the district's exceptional teachers and express its gratitude for their service, dedication, and professional excellence, and ask the SBCUSD family and community to come together with our teachers to make a difference in the lives of our students. I'm proud to move this.
Second.
Moved in second. Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Hernandez Nunez,
Aye.
Ms. Rojo,
Aye.
and Ms. Rosenblum.
Aye. Mr. Husky?
Motion carried. 2.5, recognition of school employee week. I'd like to ask Board Member Medina to read that for us, please.
Thank you. Whereas in 1986, California Senate Bill 1552 established the third week of each May as Classified School Employee Week to recognize the vital contributions of classified employees, and whereas the classified employees of the San Bernardino Unified School District provide efficient and effective support services that are essential to excellent teaching, sound administration, and high student achievement. And whereas classified employees are rarely in the spotlight, but are always central to the activities of our schools and offices, serving with professionalism and dedication, whereas classified employees support and enhance the educational process by performing vital services including clerical, transportation, food service, office and IT support, interpretation services, building and grounds maintenance, and many other functions. And whereas in order for our district to run effectively and efficiently, it depends daily on the dedication and capabilities of its more than 2,400 classified employees. And whereas classified employees work with commitment in forwarding the mission of the district and to respond effectively to the needs of the students and their families, teachers, administrators, other staff, and the needs of the greater community. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education, San Bernardino Unified School District, does hereby honor the contributions of classified school employees and proclaims May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as Classified School Employee Week and extends its sincere appreciation to all classified staff. So moved.
Moved by Board Member Medina and second by Board Member Chahusky. Vote, please.
Aye.
Mr. Chahusky, Mr. Hernandez Nunez,
Aye.
Ms. Rojo,
Aye.
Ms. Rosenblum,
Aye.
Mrs. Alexander,
Aye.
motion carried. 2.6, recognition of National School Nurse Day. I'd like to ask Board Member Grande to read that for us.
Thank you. Whereas May 8th, 2024 is National School Nurse Day, and whereas, yes, I agree, National School Nurse Day was established in 1972 with the goal of educating the public of the critical role of school nurses in the education setting. And whereas school nurses have served their role in ensuring students' academic success for more than 120 years, and whereas students today face more complex and life-threatening health problems requiring care in school, and whereas school nurses support the health and educational success of children and youth by promoting wellness and improving health outcomes for the nation's children, and whereas school nurses act as a liaison between the school community and families, and whereas school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in a position to make a positive difference for children every day. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District proclaims May 8th, 2024 as National School Nurse Day and acknowledges the accomplishments of the district school nurses and their continued efforts to meet the needs of today's students, to help them stay healthy and in school, ready to learn. And honored to make that motion.
Second.
It was moved by Ms. Grande and second by Mr. Husky. Vote, please. Dr. Wyatt,
Aye.
Mrs. Alexander,
Aye.
Mr. Hernandez Nunez,
Aye.
Ms. Rojo,
Aye.
and Ms. Rosenblum.
Aye.
Motion carried. That brings us to section 3, public comments. 3.1, receive public comments. This is the only time the public will have an opportunity to address the board on items not on the agenda and within their subject matter jurisdiction, such as district policies, procedures, programs, services, and fiscal matters. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes per person. 6 or more people who wish to speak on one topic will be provided no more than 30 minutes total. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because these comments are made at a public meeting. And our first public speaker is Mr. Tony Plana.
Hello? Beautiful. Thank you very much. Good evening, Superintendent, the board, and the council, the cabinet. I mean, I'm very, very excited about wanting to show you one of your programs that you have supported over the last 3 years, because this last year, our third production of the American Musical Academy at Indian Springs High School on Saturdays has just taken a quantum leap with our production of Finding Nemo, and I want to show you a short clip, please.
Just below the coral sea, parents dream of who their kids will be. Love and joy are all they know.
Like we rehearsed, everyone.
Fish are friends, not food. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Everything will be okay. See? Just keep swimming. Move your tail and sure enough you'll find your way.
This time's different, cause now we got you. We'll all get out if we can swim the way we always do. Together, we swim together. Cooperation is the secret to our success. Bubbles, swim in harmony. We're a fishing family, and the coral reef will be our new address. Now go have adventure!
The big blue world, we're gonna go explore. In the big blue world, we've never seen before. What's waiting out there?
We started this about 3 years ago with a production of Jungle Book, and then a production of Into the Woods, and this year we did Finding Nemo. These are 4th to 8th graders who would never have had a chance to really display their talents, to develop their talents, as I think a lot of our children in the district deserve. So I'm here to raise awareness through you and through the public here as to the fact that the Academy is there for these children who want to participate every Saturday morning, 9:30, I think it's 9 o'clock to 12:30, and then they work all year to put these amazing productions on. We started with 10 kids. Now we have 60. But I know there are more talented children in musical theater in your district of over 40,000 students than 60. So, I mean, we want to raise awareness, and we have the buy-in from the district to develop all these kids to their optimal potential. And unless we do it, it won't get done, because believe me, and I raised a child in musical theater, it takes money, it takes resources to do that on your own. So this is for the children like me who never had it. And as you know, I'm a professional actor. I've been doing this for almost 50 years. And I wish I had it earlier. I might have been, I don't know, taller. But as a result of it, but I just wanted you to know that we're there and we want to raise awareness for the parents. So we have these 2 QR codes. This summer, we are offering AMA at 2 different sites for anyone who wants to participate. Okay? There's no audition. And then, so there's the QR code for sign up for AMA Summer Camp. A lot of fun. And we also work on auditioning skills for in the fall. If they want to audition for our production, then they can. They just have to go to this QR code and sign up for an interest list. We'll call you and schedule an audition. And the most important part of it is that no one who auditions gets turned down. Okay, we create training programs that support the production for those kids who are not yet ready for production. So in the next years, they will be, and they'll be able to do what you see these kids do in Finding Nemo.
Thank you, Mr. Planner. We have a question or comment from Ms.
Sure.
Ceballos?
Sure.
Thank you so much for bringing that, for us to experience and, for the public as well. So you said that it's currently available at Indian Springs, but it's open to the entire district.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you mentioned that they work for an end of year production.
Correct.
So is there a cutoff, time, or they can just come at any time?
No. So the great question. So the auditions are in August, early August, when we come back to school. And the reason why they have to audition is that we can place them properly at their skill level, so we can build them up to the level of that you saw these kids perform today. What they're doing is not easy. You should try it at home. Maybe not. But it's not easy. And so it needs that kind of, progressive cumulative skill development for these kids to really shine. So
then this summer camp leads into that August audition.
We introduce any child who wants to the musical theater world. And then we also introduce them to the ability, to audition for a production and then get placed accordingly in the different sections of it that we'll have next year.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Planner. You got great energy, and we appreciate all your hard work. And the thought you still want to come back and help our students means a lot to us. So thank you very much.
It means a lot to me. I get more out of it than they do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Mr. Marvin Williams.
How you guys doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys giving me the time to hear me out. I'm here on behalf of my son. I just use his initials, MW. Up until January 25th, he was a student at a Royal Valley High School, and he had got placed up for expulsion. I was informed yesterday, praise God, that his expulsion was overturned or was removed from that recommendation. But we still had some issues regarding how the initial investigation and or the arrest had took place. So I could easily just be at home and, be doing my winning dance, but it was still some issues. So I'm not here for my son. I'm here for any kids in the future that may be faced with a similar situation. Dr. Gallardo, or Mr. Gallardo as well, was the prosecuting vice principal, and he basically conceded to or agreed with the same defense that we had for our son, that our son was actually assaulted first. He admitted this openly in the hearing, but the verbiage doesn't reflect that in his suspension. So still on my son's paperwork or on his record, his educational record, it looks like as if he's a violent predator. So I don't know if it's a way to get that verbiage amended or removed off of our son's record, his educational record. Dr. Gallardo called 2 witnesses. He called a student witness. I would not use a student's name because he's a minor. And he called an adult witness, which was the officer that did the report. I had 2 questions because I was unfamiliar with that process. I asked his first witness, the adult, which was Officer Michael Cobb. I said, did you know that my son was assaulted first? To my surprise, he said no. Even to this day, it's been 5 months. He said no. And the way he said no is as if he never heard it, never seen it, like he never heard such a thing. I was shocked by that. I was thinking he would say no, but under further investigation, we did realize that your son was assaulted first. The second witness was a student witness. I said, did you know that my son was assaulted first? He said, yes. He said it emphatically. He repeated it. He was like happy to say, he said, oh yeah, your son got swung on first. And it took me all of 5 seconds to get this information. And these are the 2 witnesses that Dr. Gallardo called. I didn't have a witness there. These are his 2 witnesses basically conceding or agreeing with how we said these events took place. Not only was my son assaulted, but none of this verbiage of my son's assault is in the suspension, in the recommendation for the expulsion. It just looks like as if my son attacked a kid violently, unprovoked, for no reason. So I just want to know, is it a way to get that removed off of his record? Because the way Officer Michael Cobb wrote the report, it went from a school situation to a penal code situation. And my son was unfortunately arrested. And I have empathy and I understand and I feel for the other children, all the children involved. I'm not just making it seem like my son is this perfect kid. He had no business over there. But what we can't do is take justice or deny justice for one kid in order to give that justice to another kid. I think justice has to be given and dispersed equally. You know, we have his side, we have their side, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle, as we all know. And I'm not even blaming Mr. Gallardo, because I get he gets a call from a parent and he has to act on it. You know, he has to act on it, and that's kind of like what it seems like happened. And it was a rush to judgment. But my thing is, after the fact, after we investigated and after all of the evidence comes in, at some point we have to make it right. We have to say, because we can't be leaders of children and say we expect our children to stand up and admit when they're wrong and own up to their mistakes. But then when we as adults make mistakes, I'm not willing to stand up and say I made a mistake. I'm on my son. He had no business over there, and he admitted that. And he even lied on the initial information that he gave, saying he wasn't over there, and he admitted that. But what we want is for the record to be corrected, because now I'm dealing with a penal code case. And if that verbiage is in the write-up, in the arrest, it gives my son more of a fight that, hey, this could have been self-defense. I appreciate you guys' time, and thank you for listening.
And thank you for coming out. And someone will contact you on ways that, number one, we'll make sure that the information is accurate. And number two, there's a way to expunge the information. They'll contact you on that, okay?
Right. And if possible, to even reserve the recorded tapes, that the statements that was made amongst the witnesses would even help.
No doubt about it.
All right,
They'll
thank
be
you.
contacting, okay? Thank you. Next is the, we usually do a name, but they have the drip squad. So when you come up, please give me your name. And this will be more than one speaker, so we'll start the clock for a total of 30 minutes, Ms. Cunningham, once the first speaker speaks. When after the first speaker speaks, stop the clock and then wait for the next one to speak and start the clock again. Thank you.
Good evening. Give us just a minute. All right. Thank you so much. And it may have said Drip Squad, but the complete title is the Acoma Unity Center. And we are here this evening just to present to you our programs at Acoma. Number one, to thank all of you school board members for your support of all the work that we do at Acoma. We appreciate it. We not only have the Drip Squad program, we also have our documentary club. We also have Acoma Speaks podcast, and we have our digital arts. Am I forgetting things? Thank you, guys. So each of our students, I want you just to hear how much they've grown from last year. Last year, they were just shaking in their boots. This year, they're still shaking, but they're a little more confident, and they've learned so much. We at Acoma are helping them to be solution-based learners, critical thinkers. So this evening, each of our students would like to give you some ideas of the things they've learned and what's on their mind. So first we have Alani.
Hello, Superintendent and School Board. My name is Alani Chapman, and I attend Arroyo Valley High School. I live in San Bernardino. I want to express my passion and concern for clean water, starting with the school district. In Drip Squad, we learn how to test our water and different things that can be in the water. I went on 2 field trips. This year we went to the water plant and we went to the water plant and we toured the water plant. They showed us everything and like where they clean the water and everything. And then last year we went to UTR and we got to test water and see how to do that as well. Drip Squad has helped me to express my concerns about clean water and what we can do to fix it. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you.
Hello, school board members and superintendent. My name is Caleb Zacharias. I am 13. I live in San Bernardino. My main topic is what is inside our pipes. From what I've learned from Drip Squad, if people don't check their pipes regularly, you can get sick from lead poisoning or other diseases. But I know this thanks to Miss Butterfly and the UCR team. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Soleil Campo. I'm a resident of the city of San Bernardino. This is my first year being a part of Drip Squad. I've learned a lot about our water and our environment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, school board members and superintendent. My name is Ian Vargas, and I'm 12 years old, and I go to Richardson Prep High. I live in San Bernardino. I came here today to say why is our school water so dirty? Because one time I drank school water and I got sick. And if you can you please make the school water clean for our students? What I also learned from Drip Squad is that the world that we live in is not as healthy because of the dirty water anymore. And if we don't do anything about it, we could get sick. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, school board members and city council members. My name is Axel Vargas, and I believe that Drip Squad is an important group because it taught and showed me the harm the warehouses do to our community, and I believe that they should stop building the warehouses. That's it.
Good evening. My name is Alan. I'm 15 years old. I'm a high school student and a college student, also a resident of San Bernardino. I'm also a member of Drip Squad, and in Drip Squad, they have taught me many things, such as different cultures, the water, the environment. I'm here to talk about the problems we notice from our schools. One of the problems we notice is the water. The water doesn't look good, and it has a weird taste, which water shouldn't have any of those qualities. Another problem is the warehouses. Lots of warehouses have been built near many schools. Because of that, lots of trucks have been passing through, leaving air polluted. Because of this, it has had an impact on student health. We are here to inform you of all of these problems and hope you can solve them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, San Bernardino School Board. My name is Liliana Wilson. I attend Arroyo Valley High School. I came here to talk about the water in our schools. At Arroyo, students always complain about the water quality being bad. So all I ask is to improve our water quality and look out for our students. Because the students here are our future. And if we want our students to perform the best, we have to do right. We have to do right by them by providing better water quality. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, San Bernardino School Board. My name is Kiana and I go to school in San Bernardino. The water at our schools tastes bad, smells bad, and looks cloudy. All I ask is that you take some time to improve the water quality at our school to ensure the health of students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alicia Nash. I'm from San Andreas High School, and I'm here to show my support and appreciation to the Drip Squad. They have a mission of improving water by teaching students water purification practices. And the fact that this program originates from students sharing their bad water experiences shows how much they care. And I feel it's very important to expose students to these types of ways to clean water and just better our environment because we are the future. And I also believe that we need to keep on implementing these types of programs into community centers and schools to bring us closer to like bettering our community and future communities. So thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Superintendent, Assistant Supes, and board members. I'm just standing here with a deep sense of pride and of our scholars here for the Drip Squad cohort number 2. So I like to just give it up again for them. And I'm also standing here in deep gratitude to you all for your dedication and commitment to expanded learning programs. At Acoma Unity Center, we host our Sankofa Saturday programs, which is our educational and enrichment program. And through that program, we're able to offer programs like Drip Squad. So again, we appreciate you and your unwavering support and hope to continue to have that going to the next school year. Thank you.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Sam Ying. I'm an assistant professor of environmental science at UC Riverside, and we had the honor of partnering with Acoma and People's Collective for Environmental Justice to expose the drip scholars to the science behind water quality. And the great part was that students participated in sampling the water and then also looking at the data that we received just from like a couple different samples from 2 schools and a few residences. And the good news is that it showed that everything was safe, but apparently there are some aesthetic conditions that are really striking, and that's all part of the package of learning about water. And so we're really glad to have this opportunity to partner with for this program, because just like it was mentioned before for other programs, I think it's super important that our kids are exposed to these sciences at a really early age so that they feel
confident and empowered to go into the water industry and help achieve water equity in our society. Thank you.
I want to thank you for clarifying that the water tested was safe.
Yeah.
Now, I understand taste, and we can look into that, but we take the safety of our water very seriously, and over the years, we've tested over and over again to make sure we meet the requirements in state law. So if there's something we can do to better the taste or the appearance, then we'll work on that also. But
yeah,
but,
that would,
but
yeah.
the safety of our water is truly important to us.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to piggyback on that, last time we were here, we were promised some data, and we haven't. I don't know why we haven't linked up to share that data, but we would still like to have that data so that when our scholars are looking at the overall data, they can compare the San Bernardino School District to the city in general. So we would like to get that data whenever it's possible. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Miss Butterfly. I'm actually the youth program leader teacher for this amazing water education testing squad. It's year 2 and we're here back. Obviously, you got to hear from our scholars all the amazing growth that they've made. I am so immensely proud of each and every one of them. I'm even proud for one of our new students that came last session. And I really want to just talk about the curriculum itself. So this school year, I really wanted to develop a curriculum where anybody could just step in and get that taste of knowledge at like a whole picture sense. And I think I accomplished that. Our student was able to jump right in and make everyone made a beautiful comment, but the fact that she picked up on it like that, that just goes to show that these types of programs do need to exist, not just at schools, at community centers, at any way possible, right? And I think that this school year, we pretty much focused on 3 different things. We focused on civic engagement, we focused on water advocacy, and then the last one was artivism. But I always like to say that it was all these things encompassed with the emphasis on community care, because at every lesson, every session we had, I made sure to implement what that looked like when it came to self-awareness, when it came to self-reflection, what it meant for each and every one of our scholars, how that made them feel. Because we don't really ever talk about that, right, in the classrooms, outside the classrooms. I always try to implement social justice and social environmental racism, because that is the root of everything, unfortunately, here in the IE. So when our scholars were talking about the warehousing, the influx of industry, how the water has a specific taste or looks cloudy, that's because we looked at those things. I wanted to hear every single thing that our scholars had to say, and I'm so proud of them that they were able to stand up here before you and share that. And an earlier comment, I overheard one of the speakers talk about critical roles in our community. And I just want to say that I had a critical role in making sure that our scholars were centered every chance that they got. And so I just want to emphasize again that this program isn't just successful in the fact that we're able to stand up here before you. A lot of these scholars are able to go in their communities now. I have scholars that attend the Garcia Center. I have scholars who want to participate in other things that they weren't ever exposed to. They think differently, right? They feel differently. And I just want to highlight that, because the advocacy isn't just a diagram that you see in our textbooks. It's about life learning. It's about that engagement and that connection that our scholars deserve. And I just want to also thank the People's Collective for hiring me for this position and having that full trust in me. I also want to thank Acoma Uni Center and Dr. Ying and Lucky for supporting me, and all of you for giving us the time to really showcase that. The growth on the science board isn't obviously enough, but I hope you're able to look at the pictures and see how their gaze and their eyes have changed, right? I think that's the real change of our future. Thank you so much. We have a end of the school year award ceremony coming up June 29th, and we would love to see all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a comment or a question from Ms. Board Member Ceballos.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming up. You guys did an awesome job, and I do see the improvement from the previous year and their confidence in speaking. So it's really nice to see that growth. Just really quickly, I also appreciate what President Tillman said in regards to the quality of the water, because I was starting to get concerned there for a second. But I do want to ask if there is a simple question, if there's a simple answer, what typically contributes, if the water is tested safe, what contributes to the way it looks or the way it smells? Because the reason that's a concern for me, even if the water quality is good, a lot of students will not drink water because of the way it smells or tastes, which essentially then they're not getting, water in.
That is an excellent question, because that what you're talking about, the aesthetics, the look and taste and smell, is called aesthetic conditions, and that under federal guidelines, that is a secondary contaminant, or MCL, that is actually not regulated on the federal level, but in California it is. And so there's a lot of different factors that can make it look cloudy, including just the way it's being distributed or pressurized in the pipes, to changes in pH because of it traveling through the pipes. But again, it doesn't result in a chemical change that causes the typically monitored contaminants to be at a higher level. So to give you some examples, if you have iron in your pipes, which a lot of us do, and then it comes out, it'll look murky and taste metallic, but technically when you eat it, it's not toxic to us. So that's an example of something that's aesthetic and not pleasing. But to your point, it is really important that it is better regulated than it is now. As you can tell, the way it is regulated or treated is a little bit fuzzy because of all these different conditions that can cause the water to taste or smell or look different. There are not very good current treatments for that, particularly because premise plumbing is not in the jurisdiction of, say, your water system. So anything that changes between the point of entry when the water comes into your building and then all the pipes in your own house, you're responsible for the piping yourself, which can cause different tastes in your water. The other thing that is an issue is that it's not just the taste that's causing people to drink bottled water, it's also just culture and habit. That's also kind of like a perception of the water safety. So in other words, there's not actually a really great solution right now for moving people toward water that tastes and looks better to them, because it depends on their background and their previous trust in the system also. So it's a complicated field. But one of the things that we're doing in the program is actually guiding students to find existing data that shows what the water quality is. So to the board president's point, there is already existing data on all the piping that's been replaced or being replaced that had lead solders, and what the actual last water quality testing results show. And then our own testing of a handful of the taps show that a lot of the primary contaminants that cause a lot of adverse health effects are actually really, really low in the samples that we collected. But again, that's not sufficient because these aesthetic issues are causing students to really avoid drinking it. So I'm a geochemist, so I find the problems. I don't find the solutions. So that is kind of like where we move more toward the treatment options and talk to the engineers.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. And if just, I guess for the team, if we could look, or if we can get some information back, because I would personally like to, if we can, do something about the aesthetics of the water in the district. If we can be presented with, what that all means and start to maybe unravel it, what would be the cost? I know that certain schools or UCR, they have, those filters where you refill your bottles. I don't know if that's an option, for us. So yeah, thank you.
Good information. Ms. Medina?
And just to piggyback on that, I believe we do have certain sites that do have that, but I want to say thank you for your presentation, and just the fact that our students are learning from the work that you are teaching them, and the fact that they're doing research and all of that does make a big impact. And it's also that family environment that you create that many students don't have, and so I think that's crucial in any kind of program. So I really do appreciate you all being here and presenting on these as well.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Alexander had a question?
I did. Okay, thank you. I would like to tell the Drip Squad they did an excellent job. I had the opportunity to see them last year, so excellent job on that. That we requested. Do we know what those reports are? And if she could share exactly what they are, that would be great.
Thank you very much. That brings us to our next speaker. I believe it is Sonia Oluch. If I pronounce your name incorrectly, please correct it. Thank you.
So, quick update. We did submit different public comments with each of their names, but all of us together, just so you know. But my name is Darrell Jones. I'm the Career Pathways Coordinator with Blue Educational Foundation. Very happy to be here with you all this evening. We were able to do a public policy internship over the past 2 months, focusing on Cal Grant reform. So we realized that as we talk about championing and really getting our students into college, attainment is one thing, but affordability is really an issue. And so as we think about really how with AB 469, having more of our students complete financial aid and FAFSA, making sure that we encourage them to get also the opportunity of Cal Grant. So we had these lovely interns champion Cal Grant reform as we get more access for our students to get more dollars for school. So I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Brianna, currently a undergrad student at University of California, Riverside.
Hello, my name is Sonia Lodge. I am currently a student at the University of California, Riverside.
Hello, my name is Austin Laney, and I'm currently a student at the University of Riverside, California.
Hello, my name is Prince Alfonso Jr. I'm going to attend Cal State San Bernardino for my major in computer science.
Over the past 2 months, we have had the opportunity to work with Blue Educational Foundation as a public policy intern to champion Cal Grant reform.
If funded, it will provide aid to 130,000 new low-income students. While we are doubling down on efforts to ensure that students complete financial aid, after the passing of AB 469, I urge you to not forget about the importance of marketing Cal Grant to our students.
During this time, we have met with local assembly members like James Ramos, Sabrina Cervantes, Eloise Reyes, and Corey Jackson to garner support in championing Cal Grant reform.
With college affordability often being a major deterrent for our students, it is important that they are aware of all aid available to them, and thank you for your time and consideration.
So yeah, just really wanting to make sure that we, of course, emphasize the importance. I have a lot of students that I work with within the district who are very well aware of completing the financial aid, doing your FAFSA, but we leave money on the table when we don't emphasize, make sure you do your Cal Grant, especially with the whole Better FAFSA fiasco that we're all experiencing right now. We really want to make sure that our students take advantage of the free money that's offered to them. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Blue Big Shot behind the scene, Ms. Dina Walker, I see in the background. That brings us to our next public comment, Mr. Charles Thomas.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I'm here in regard of issue involving my son. It's kind of the piggyback on what Mr. Williams was going off of. You know, our boys were in a a little altercation, and due to the lies that were told, it made it seem like our boys were monsters and just got out and attacked a group of students. I mean, that's far from the truth. And we just feel that like there need to be better investigations, because once the video was out, it clearly shows that it was actually our boys that were approached, and they defended themselves, but because of the lies that were told, they got out and attacked them. My son was put in jail for this situation for 30 days over lies. Somebody saying, "Oh, he hit him and did all this," and I just don't feel like a proper investigation was actually done to, really like get the truth out. Because like I said, if I feel that if that really did happen, with having video evidence, they would have seen that no, this ain't what happened. And also in going in on this, they actually didn't even try to take no statements from one side. Only one side got in trouble, which was actually a mutual fight that was not between my son. A few other kids that wasn't really there to fight, was there to watch a fight. Like there was plenty other kids that was there, but like I said, he got surrounded and felt threatened and felt he had to defend himself. But only one side was punished, and I don't want to make it a race thing, but pretty much only the black kids were punished, and one Hispanic kid that was with the black kids. And in a mutual fight, I mean, everybody should have been held accountable in some kind of way, So that's one of my complaints. Also, I have a complaint when it comes to the process of this expulsion. My son is put up for expulsion. He's on the document. And I don't feel none of our boys should have been put up for expulsion. It was pretty much a fight that, if all else, should have been a suspension. And that's my personal opinion. But with the one side only being questioned and told, and even at the hearing, the expulsion hearing, I was told I constantly got cut off. I constantly refuted the evidence that they said they had, and I'm like, okay, well, here you go, and showing evidence that no, it's not what you guys are saying. If this is not what happened, here's what happened. But being told, no, we already know, and just getting rushed, and I just don't feel that was right. I don't feel I had a fair hearing to represent my son in this situation due to them natures. I just feel it was pre-bias already, that they already had their mind made up. If you look at the codes that are on here, they also got it on here like my son's a drug dealer, and that's far from. He's not a gangster. He's none of that. He's not. He knows how to defend himself, and that's it. He's an athlete. He's a 3-year starter of varsity football at Arroyo Valley. He's not the kid that they try to make him to be. He just will protect himself. And I just really just want to ask you guys, before you guys make your final decision, can you guys please review the evidence that was presented on our end? Review the translated tape, because as saying my son's a threat to the school, when the principal clearly said, I have nothing but positive interaction with your son. He says good morning. He's polite. You'll never get a teacher to say he's disrespectful, he's doing this, but there they paint him as a menace to the school. And I just don't feel they should have that right to do that, in the sense of, without evidence or without doing investigations, and like I said, once again, I just really appreciate if you guys would, before making your final decision, really look at the evidence, and you'll see it's not what they painted the picture to be. My son is not a drug dealer, like I said, that they have in the one of the codes that they had on here, and that's just pretty much it. Please review it before you guys make your final decision, because this is really affecting his life. He's been out of school since January. Like I said,
Time.
and I just please take that in consideration.
Well, and I want to thank you for coming out. I do want to assure you that this board takes all incidents of expulsion seriously. And in this particular incident, I've been very involved in reviewing the information, the videos, the background, because I got contacted from Mr. Williams from the very beginning. So it's my job to make sure that I look at everything that comes to the district and feel that it was done in a fair way, and that regardless of, we understand that young people make mistakes, but our goal is to, in spite of the mistakes, do everything we can to help all our students still be successful, right? So that's the balancing act that we play. But I want to guarantee you that we take the time to make sure we gather all the information to ensure that we feel like before we make that final vote, that we're doing what is as fair as possible.
Okay, and I have a question. Since you guys say you gathered all the information, was you able to gather the information where one of the people stated that, you know, they never touched my son, but I sent in the evidence showing that it was admitted that they did attack my son? Like, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I can't talk about the specifics out here.
That's what I mean. That's a lot of the evidence that I didn't get to really show at the thing because I kept getting shut down and I kept getting.
Well, I can give you my number. I know you, how you related to ET, Yvonne. And
that's my auntie.
Yeah, they got my number. Have them call me.
Okay.
I went to school with your Uncle Jerry.
Yes, that's my uncle.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, you can call me.
okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
And Ricky Van Johnson went to school with your Uncle Bruno. Next is
That's my dad.
Bruno's your dad?
Yeah, that's my dad.
Wow. I knew your dad well, man. Next is Carolina. Miriam? Caroline and Miriam? Is that what it is? Okay.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for being here today. And of course, awesome. Actually, this is my first time here. So, all right. My name is Miriam Nieto, and I am a co-director of Just San Bernardino. So Just San Bernardino is it's a collaborative of 8 nonprofit organizations, and we are dedicated to building a people's economy. One of our priorities in this collaborative is purposeful pathways, and our collaborative members in this space include Arts Connection, Congregations Organized for Prophetic Engagement, the People's Collective for Environmental Justice, Blue Educational Foundation, and Inland Congregations United for Change.
Hi everyone, my name is Carolina Sanchez. I am also co-director along with Miriam. I also just wanted to state that, we're excited to learn more about the CTE pathways. And we want to give a thank you to the school board members who were advocating for this presentation for a while. We really appreciate it and see your effort. In the coming months, we really hope to receive more presentations like this so we can continue learning and also continue giving this information to the community, such as you're doing right now. So thank you.
Honorable School Board, thank you for having us tonight. I'm Paloma Montes. I'm the Policy Director at the Inland Empire Labor Council, and we represent 93 local unions as well as 400,000 workers and their families across San Bernardino and Riverside counties. Like my colleagues, I want to thank you for taking the time to update us on these programs and for your commitment to our students' academic career and success. I hope we have the opportunity to collaborate with you on these career pathway readiness programs that continue to reflect the dynamic needs and interests of San Bernardino students. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're almost done.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, community members. It's good to be here in a space full of educators. As a former sixth grade math teacher and always going to be an educator, it's great to just share space with you all. A little bit about myself. My name is Alejandro Gutierrez. I'm the executive director of Arts Connection for the Arts Council of San Bernardino County. We wear multiple different hats. One of the hats we wear with the school districts is we are teaching. We are the largest supporter of community teaching artists in the county, and we serve 14 different schools for the school district and the after school program. Just want to give my huge appreciation to the board on all your effort, and the district CTE staff members for all your efforts in just making sure that the different variety of career pathways for our students is available for them. Specifically for Arts Connection, the creative pathways, to ensure that arts is accessible to all and that there's an outlet and a pathway for artists to make a living and have a career in the arts, as there is a variety of different amazing career for artists. So just want to express any way we could support, partner in the continuous improvement process with the school district. We're here to help. We're here to uplift, and any way we could tap into the vast network of art organizations, artists that we have in the county, we're here to help out. We're work-based learning opportunities. But yeah, thank you so much, and look forward to working with you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next public comment is Ms. Veronica Estrada. Mr. Estrada here? Oh, okay.
Hi, my name is Veronica Estrada. I am here on behalf of Ms. Shannon Brenner from Ballington Academy Charter School. And she just had me put, I'm just going to read this. This is from her. So, good evening, San Bernardino Unified School Board of Directors. Again, my name is Veronica Estrada, and I'm here on I am the community schools coordinator of Ballington Academy for the arts and sciences. We're a charter school here in San Bernardino, and we wanted to take a moment to thank you for your support and trust in us. We also wanted to share some of the things Ballington has done this year. We have connected with families, various community resources, including employment support, food sourcing, medical care, dental care, and clothing. Students continue to make great academic strides. Last year, the state test, the school grew 55 points in English language arts, 42.9 points on math, and 79% of our ELD students demonstrated progress. In addition to that, the students are having a great time and learning so much as they prepare for the production of Treasure Island. Work on coding and robotics in their technology class, create artifacts on 3D printers, and utilize fun and interesting methods. Those art methods are some we wanted to share with you tonight. That's what she's giving as the little cups, or a little gift that Ms. Shannon sent. A recent project taught to the students is the process of sublimation, which turns solids into gas without becoming liquid. In art, students create their pictures using skills learned in younger grades. Those projects were printed on special paper using a type of ink that becomes gas when heated and applied to material, in this case, a mug, as you can see. The ink in its gaseous state then bleeds onto the mug. Students are so excited to share their knowledge and use this process with you. Please enjoy the projects that she sent. We always welcome people to come visit and see our amazing things our students are doing. Thank you again for your continued trust and support. So the stuff on the mugs is actual artwork that our children do. I have only been there for a year doing that, but I can tell you if you guys go down there and see the art class, it's amazing. Like everybody that goes there is completely shocked by the classroom. So I do invite you guys to come out and see the school. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Have a good day. Good night.
And next is the former council member from the 6th Ward, Mr. Ricky Van Johnson.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent, Mauricio. Good to see you as always. Just on a sad note, as this is a Teacher Appreciation Week, National Teacher Appreciation Week, Deborah Johnson, a former teacher in San Bernardino City Unified School District for over 36 years, passed yesterday. Her service will be on May the 25th at Ecclesia Christian Fellowship in San Bernardino. She taught over 30 years at Davidson Elementary. She really, as most teachers in the school district, the challenges that we face with kids coming to school, bringing their environment into the school, the teachers always tend to do a little bit more here in San Bernardino. And she was one of those teachers that also met the needs of the students so that when they felt and came into a classroom, she was ready to impart her wisdom after she met their needs. So just wanted to just inform you of her passing and her homegoing celebration, and also just to thank all of you for all you continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was the last of our public comments. Board, we will go into closed session. Are there any closed? Oh, no. Sorry about that. We have a public hearing. 4.1, public hearing and resolution on increase in statutory school fees imposed on residential and commercial industrial construction. At this time, I will open the public hearing.
There are no comments.
So we will close the public hearing. And are we entertaining a vote at this time?
Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Grande and seconded by Ms. Medina. Vote, please, of Dr. Wyatt. Ms. Alexander?
Aye.
Mr. Hernandez Nunez?
Aye.
Ms. Rojo?
Aye.
And Ms. Rosenblum?
Aye. Ms. Rosales Medina?
Motion passed. Takes the 4.2 public hearing for adoption of the MOU between SBC USD and CSEA, Chapter 183, 2023 to 2024, range increase. I got it. Sorry about that. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. Are there any public comments?
No comments.
I will close the public hearing, seeing no questions or comments from board members, and I will entertain a motion. Moved by Mr.
Second.
Husky.
Second.
Second by Ms. Medina. Vote, please. Mrs. Alexander?
Aye.
Dr. Wyatt? Mr. Hernandez Nunez?
Aye.
Ms. Rojo?
Aye.
And Ms. Rosenblum?
Aye.
Four point three, public hearing for the acceptance and adoption
Please,
of the.
excuse me, Sir President, I still need to One more vote. There we go. Thank you.
Motion carried. 4.3, public hearing for the acceptance and adoption of the MOU between SBCUSD and CSEA, Chapter 183, Recreation Classification. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Are there any comments?
No comments.
Seeing none from board. It's been moved by Ms. Husky
Second.
Second.
and second by Ms. Medina. Vote, please. Mrs. Alexander,
Aye.
Mr. Hernandez Nunez,
Aye.
Ms. Rojo,
Aye.
and Ms. Rosenblum.
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we will convene into closed session. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Section 6, action reported from closed session. 6.1, expulsion of students. Entertain a motion.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Husky and second by Mrs. Ceballos. Vote, please.
So just to add, we probably need to make a change and put as amended.
Can I change the motion, please, Mr. Husky?
Move as amended.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Husky and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please.
Mrs. Alexander? Having trouble.
Thumbs up for aye. Okay. You got an aye. Motion passed. 6.2, lift, readmit of expulsion of student.
Second.
This by motion by Mr. Husky and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please. Mrs. Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passed. 6.3, petition to expunge, rescind, or modify youth court or expulsion.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Husky and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please.
Aye.
Motion carries. 6.4, students recommended for suspension or expulsion, excluding mandatory offenses, but remanded to youth court for other means of correction.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Alexander and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please. That was a yes vote from Mrs. Alexander.
Aye. Yes.
Motion passed. 6.5, consideration and adoption of resolution. Resolution implementing elimination, layoff, and/or reduction in service of classified positions. Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Medina. I get a second? A second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please.
Aye.
The motion passed. 6.6, other closed session action. Be it resolved that the Board of Education to accept the resignation of classified management employee HR Class 23-24-22 ER for the purpose of retirement effective June 30, 2024 under the terms of a resignation agreement and general release. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Ceballos and second by Ms. Alexander. Vote, please.
I'll need a verbal vote.
Okay, verbal vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passed. Section 7, student board members, 7.1, reports. We'll
Excuse me,
start-
President Tillman, do the other one under closed other action. There's the other one.
Other items, sorry about that, you're right. Thank you. Other items, other closed session action. Be it resolved, the Board of Education accepts the notice of recommendation for this disciplinary action and statement of charges to dismiss the following classified employee from his or her employment with the district. HR Class 23-24-08-ER. Be it further resolved that the Board of Education accepts the notice of recommendation for disciplinary action and statement of charges to dismiss the following certificated employee from his or her employment with the district. HR Cert 23-24-15-ER. A motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Grande and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please. No, it's not.
Aye.
Motion passed. Now we're at section 7, 7.1, reports and comments by our student board members. I'm going to start with Ms. Rojo.
Good evening. My name is Daisy Rojo from a senior at Middle College High School. Some events this month from Middle College. Senior and junior prom just occurred last weekend, and our first yacht prom on Newport Beach. And I just want to congratulate our senior class for making that, and our office staff for making this special night possible and memorable. Also, last week, Friday, we celebrated our principal from Middle College High School, James Espinoza, for his leadership and the shine he brings through the Middle College High School program. Lastly, we want to thank all SBCUC teachers, and we just look forward to this summer and we prepare for the next school year's journey and adventure. Also, I want to give a good look to all students who are taking an AP or IB course and testing this upcoming weeks. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Rosenblum.
Good evening. My name is Angela Rosenblum, and I attend Pacific High School, and I'm a junior. I would like to start off by saying that congratulating one of our seniors, Alfredo Gonzalez, for his LinkedIn Learning Alliance for the Student of the Year recipient. The PLTW Biomedical Way was recognized as a distinguished pathway for the 2023 and the 2024 school year. Recently, we had applied for a platinum PBIS school waiting, where we are currently waiting on results for the certification process. And I would like to give a big shout out to one of our juniors, Connor McClare, for his amazing race in our 100 fly and finished second with a time of 49.44 seconds on the clock. And then lastly, our PHS Cadet Corps program had completed the California Cadet State Drill Competition. We have brought home 3 trophies, went against the top military academics, placing 3rd place unarmed squad, 3rd place unarmed platoon, and special honors for our freshman Evangeline, who won 1st place in the individual unarmed drill, making the top drill and ceremony cadet in the state. So congratulations to all of those who I had said in my reports, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And that leaves us with Mr. Hernandez Nunez.
Good evening. My name is Antonio Hernandez. I'm a senior at Arroyo Valley High School. And last month we had a successful prom. Even though I didn't dance, I really enjoyed that night because I was just there with my friends and just making memories, just enjoying that night. And last week I went to go watch an orchestra performance where they played Beethoven and Strauss, and it really reminded me of our district and how we have so many talented students. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity we got to be able to showcase our talents. Yesterday, I took my AP government test. I think I did pretty good. I definitely got a 4. There's no way I got lower than that. But I want to encourage and wish luck to students that are taking AP or IB tests. Yeah, good luck. And the end of this school year is around the corner, and I'm excited and nervous. I'm not sad yet, but I think the emotion will catch up to me on graduation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Section 8, Administrative Reports, Presentations. 8.1, Career Technical Education Pathways, A through G presentation.
Thank you, President Tillman.
Assistant Superintendent Anna Applegate and her team will provide the board with the Career Technical Education and A through G update. Thank you.
Thank you. So good evening, board. And I think you're in for a treat tonight. We're very excited to really showcase and present all the work that's been done around college and career success. You asked for an update, and so we're excited. We have a large team here, as you can see, because it truly has been a collaboration between college and careers, secondary, all the other departments, and our sites. I see that we have several principals here as well. So we're excited to bring this presentation to you. So we will have sections on A through G, dual enrollment growth, the CTE pathway implementation, and work-based learning. So board, there's a natural break at the end of each section. So if you have questions, there's quite a bit of information. So Dr. Venkatesan can get through. And of course, if there's anything that you want to ask questions about, you can do so at that time. So I'd like to go ahead and pass it over to Dr. Venkatesan and Ms. Laura Smith.
Thank you, Mrs. Applegate. Good evening, Board President, Mr. Tillman, Superintendent Ariano, Board, Cabinet members, parents, and community. My name is Sudha Venkatesan, and I'm the Director for Secondary and College and Career. As a board, you not only have the vision of what it takes for our students to be college and career ready, but also have been extremely supportive in helping with needed resources, and our data shows that we are trending in the right direction. I'm so proud to share with you tonight the gains made in just the last 2 years under the leadership of Mrs. Applegate. The folder that you have in front of you contains a variety of relevant information to augment our presentation. We would especially like to thank each of the sites for their hard work in preparing the Pathway one-pagers, which highlights their accomplishments. As I start this presentation, I want to acknowledge the huge team that is instrumental for our progress. I want to recognize and thank few people in the audience today. As I call out your name, please stand and be acknowledged. I want to thank my incredible secondary and college and career team. Stand, please. My fellow Ed Services directors, our amazing high school principals and vice principals, our CTE program specialists and college and career readiness teachers, our industry partners, and our SBTA leadership for their passion and support. And all this work is not possible without you, board, and the incredible support of our Superintendent Ariano, my supervisors, Mrs. Applegate, and our esteemed cabinet. Today, we are pleased to bring you updates on A through G, dual enrollment, CTE pathway implementation, and work-based learning. Before we go into A through G, I want to begin by saying every student that enters our high schools is provided every single opportunity to graduate successfully from our district. Students are prepared for options after high school, no matter what avenue they take to graduate. There are 4 distinct ways through which our students graduate. Almost always, students start on A through G. We strive for every student to graduate with A through G through completing the A through G courses and credit recovery if needed. The second option is to get the high school diploma, satisfying the graduation requirements of San Bernardino. Then we have the third option under the legislation such as Assembly Bill 167, where just meeting the state minimum credits will help students graduate. Situations change with families, and they may fall on hard times. But the state has provisions in case such situations come up that are outside of a student's control. Finally, some students with an individualized education plan may not graduate with all A through Gs. They get a certificate of completion, but the students still get to walk across the stage with their peers. So we start with part 1 on the A through G update. Students' academic plan for graduation are always defaulted for A through G courses as part of their 4-year high school plan, unless otherwise determined by their individualized education plan. We are at a 39.5% completion rate now. The state is at a 52.4%. Our district vision for 2030 is at 70% for students to meet the A through G requirement. High Ds and F grades are limiting the rate by which the students can complete the A through G requirements. We are closing the gap with our African American students. During the 2021 school year, we were at a 10% gap. And in just 2 years, we have closed that to a 3% gap with that of a district average, which will be illustrated in the next few slides. However, our English learners, students with disabilities, and foster and homeless are still below the district average. There is still much work to do there. A significant percentage of students enter high school not meeting proficient levels in ELA and math and are in need for additional intervention courses and they are not A through G approved. These are our A through G percentages for 2021 to 2023. We see an upward trend in our A through G rates, except as I mentioned, for the ELs, foster youth, and homeless. The highest growth is among our African American students, and thanks to the intentional work that has been done by ITSA. Also, from looking at our internal data, we are very hopeful that we will be seeing a good increase in the A through G completion rates for this year. Our superintendent and Mrs. Applegate are committing a lot of equity multiplying dollars to support ELs, foster youth, and homeless to raise their completion rates. And this slide illustrates how our individual schools performed over the past 3 years in meeting the A through G requirements. You will notice that some of our schools are well ahead of our district average, and they are on their way to meet our 70% goal by 2030. And this slide provides the comparison of A through G rates by local districts of interest. I want to dwell on this slide a little bit. This data came from the National Clearinghouse. This data is compiled after 12 months post high school completion. So there's always a 2-year lag. The district represented here are similar to us in demographics. The gray bar here represents students that successfully completed their A through G requirements and are currently in a 4-year or a 2-year college. The orange bar represents the students that did not meet their A through G requirements and are now in a college. The blue bar is the average of the two. This graph shows that if a student is successful in meeting A through G, they have a much higher chance of enrolling in a 4-year or a 2-year college. Specifically for SBC USD, we are 4th from the right. 71.5% of our students who meet A through G go to college, and they are going to college at the similar rates of our surrounding districts. Considering that our city only has a 12.9% of adults that have a bachelor's degree or higher, compared with the 35.1% nationally, focusing on A through G and dual enrollment is going to pay off positively for our students. As a board, you have placed a heavy focus on the A through G completion and the dual enrollment for our students, and this graph clearly shows that it's paying off. Now that you have seen all the data telling you the story, we want you to meet one of the amazing humans behind this data. We are happy to introduce you to a Cajon High School student and Linked Learning Student of the Year, Ms. Esperanza Souza. If you can come up, please. And she is one of the only 10 students in the state to receive such recognition. And I'm also happy to share out that out of the 10 students in the state, 3 of them are from San Bernardino City Unified School District.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Ariano, and guests. I'm Esperanza Sosa, and I'm part of the construction pathway. Thank you. For Cajon High School. I'm proud to say that I'm one of the 10 students in the state to be recognized by Link Learning Alliance as a 2024 Student of the Year. I was born in the Inland Empire and lived in Rialto for most of my life. I moved to San Bernardino over 3 years ago, where I began my sophomore year at Cajon, without knowing much about CTE pathways. I started visiting my friends who enrolled in Mr. Espinoza's pathway during lunch. I envied them, because not only was Mr. Espinoza an amazing educator, but the pathway itself was intriguing. Before coming to SBCUSD, I struggled in math, but due to awesome and amazing teachers such as Ms. Janet Flores and Mr. Mario Rocha, and their encouragement, support, and overall teaching style, I no longer struggled. Being in the construction pathway and with Mr. Espinoza in my junior year allowed me to see how much I could apply math to my life and career goals. I also learned that I could get an industry certification in MC3, which included an OSHA certification and a CPR first aid certification. As I thought about my future in my senior AVID class, I thought about Mr. Espinoza and how he has inspired me to become a powerful educator. I am accepted to Cal State San Bernardino with a major in mathematics with a teaching concentration. The experiences I've had at Cajon, especially with teachers, thank you, Mr. Espinoza, Ms. Janet Flores, Mr. Mario Rocha, Mr. Palmer, Mr. Casillas, and Ms. Cackery, and being in the Link Learning Building and Construction Pathway has helped me to prepare for the future. Thank you, SBCUSD, and this school board for supporting programs that provide opportunities to motivate and inspire students like me.
Next steps to increase A through G completion. Increasing counseling support with our digitized four-year plans, increasing our dual enrollment access, systematizing a district-wide credit recovery approach are our top priorities. Consultants from Creative Learning are working at each high school site to enhance the teacher collaboration and alternative ways of grading student learning and mastery in order to reduce the D's and F's grades. There has been an increase in the FTA allotment to schools to create support classes to address the gaps in ELA and math. Free tutoring such as BrainFuse, Valdez, site-based tutoring are available for every student in San Bernardino City Unified School District, both during and outside of the school hours. And finally, working with family engagement, we are also presenting at parent councils and other meetings to increase the knowledge and awareness for parents. Beyond the supports I mentioned, our multilingual department and ETSA department provide targeted support for our English learners and African American students. As a board, you have provided unconditional support and resources to ensure we close the gap with every student and program group. Again, here are some highlights of how special education students receive targeted support for A through G. Special education under the leadership of Mrs. Applegate and Dr. Lundy has been hosting this College and Career Parent Fair, which has been very well attended and continues to grow in size each year. I will now be moving on to our focus on early college credit courses. Should I stop here for any questions?
Abigail Medina.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to highlight that you did show that we are increasing the A through G, meeting the requirements. And just for the new board members, back in 2013 when I ran, our meeting the requirements was at 18%. And not only was it 18%, there was subgroups that were 11% and even less. And so back then, we weren't even looking at those that were meeting the requirements. We were just looking at students that were attending the classes. And so my big push and many board members' push was to actually look at those students and increase the amount of students meeting the requirements. So we've done a lot of work, and I think we're moving in the right direction.
Thank you. Early college credits. We have two types of early college credits. One is dual enrollment, and as the name indicates, it allows high school students to be enrolled in their high school and at a college at the same time. Their college classes happen on school campus, online, or can be within the regular school day. Articulated courses are formal agreements between a college and SBC USD that guarantees that some classes taught at our high schools by our own SBC USD teachers will count for college credit at that specific college. We have some exciting data to report on this. 1,290 students took 154 unique early college credit courses. They got dual credit, both high school credits as well as college credit. 51% of the classes met A through F requirements, and it's up there what those A through F requirements are. And it's also directly applied to satisfy those requirements. 90.5% of our courses are transferable to CSU and UC. And 7.8% of our classes were part of a certification program. Since 2020, we have expanded the offerings to 9th and 10th graders to meet our governor's vision of 12 college units by 2030. Just this fall, 75.23% of the students got a pass grade in all of their college courses. This is an incredible accomplishment by any standards. Here is the chart of the college credit courses taken by grade level. The blue bar indicates pre-COVID numbers. Pre-COVID, most of the dual enrollment classes were only taken by juniors and seniors. Now all grade levels do. All grade levels have doubled or tripled in their enrollment since COVID. This is a real bright spot for our district. And Valley College has been steadfast partner with us achieving this success. Valley has done away with the GPA requirement for students and also the transcript requirement for the entering 9th graders. Research shows that if a student completes 4 or more dual enrollment courses, they are more likely to enroll and complete a college degree. Here is the rate of degree courses taken by our different student groups and program groups. Again, you can see that all groups doubled or tripled their percents. We are very much on the upward trajectory in dual enrollment, and thank you, board, for your relentless focus and support and making this one as your top priorities. And this graph tells you what courses our students are taking at college. The top 4 courses that students took for 21-22 school year has been in fine arts, foreign language, social studies, and science. These courses fall under A through F. The 49% under elective credits could also be used to satisfy general education requirements for their college. They call it CalGETC, and towards their undergrad degree. 90.5%, as I mentioned here, are all transferable college units. The balance were certificate-based courses done at colleges, which includes child development, heavy-duty truck repair, culinary arts, computer courses, pharmacy tech, just to name a few. Now we want to spotlight Mrs. Elizabeth Lindsay, who along with Principal Natalie Raimondo have been champions of increasing access to dual enrollment at Pacific High School. She will speak a bit about her experiences with how they grew dual enrollment among their students. We will then hear from Mr. King Anderson, that's going to be through the video, about his experience with dual enrollment. King is currently in 10th grade with strong aspirations to give back to the community. Take it away.
Good evening, Board President Tillman, Superintendent Ariano, Board and Cabinet. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit about the impact that dual enrollment has had on students at Pacific High School. As stated, my name is Lisa Lindsay, and I serve as the dual enrollment program specialist. Formerly, I was the college and career readiness teacher, and I supported anything college and career related, including college applications, financial aid applications, and college and career exploration. Now I do dual enrollment full time. Pacific High School has nearly 1,200 students, with 20% of them enrolled in at least one college class at San Bernardino Valley College. This semester, we have 283 students enrolled in at least one college class. Students enrolled in college classes are students in all grade levels, from varying demographics and with a wide range of GPAs. English learners and special education students are currently enrolled in college classes. In addition, I work with the Pacific High School Equity Counselor to encourage African American students to take college classes. There are 30 Pacific High School African American students taking college classes right now, which is 10% of students who are enrolled in a college class. Students participating in dual enrollment classes are learning a variety of skills. I tell them it is like learning how to ride a bike. Many people learn how to ride a bike with training wheels. Once they are ready, the training wheels come off and the bike can be ridden without any assistance. When students take college classes while in high school, we are their training wheels. Students learn how to read a syllabus, email a professor, complete college class assignments, advocate for themselves, and more. Students gain confidence and are able to determine for themselves that they can attend college. They leave high school with the skills that they need to take college classes on their own. In addition, graduates from Pacific High School are able to start college with a semester and even a year or more of college completed. This is saving students time and money. We recently took current Pacific High School students on a field trip to UC San Diego, where we were able to meet up with 7 Pacific High School grads who are currently attending UC San Diego. They all took dual enrollment classes while in high school and let us know how grateful they were that they were able to work on general education classes before they graduated. Finally, a Pacific High School student from the class of 2024 will be walking this May at her high school graduation and at the San Bernardino Valley College graduation ceremony. She has earned a certificate in administration of justice. We are so proud of all of our dual enrollment students. I would like to now spotlight one of our current sophomores, King Anderson, via video to discuss the impact that dual enrollment has had on him already in just his second year of high school.
And I am a sophomore at Pacific High School. This year I took 2 college classes. First, I took American Sign Language 109. I have a high school class called Dual Enrollment Support, where I take time to work on my college class assignments. Taking a college class wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be because I have a lot of support. I had support from my dual enrollment teacher, Mr. Doyle, and college interns. They showed me how to access my college class assignments and grades and how to stay organized. This semester, I am taking music appreciation, and now that I understand the process of taking college classes, it makes it a lot easier. Next year, the college class that I am going to take is Administration of Justice 101. After I graduate high school, I will start my journey in becoming a lawyer and receiving a PhD in communications to then come back to San Bernardino and be a role model to students that look like me in our school district. I am so thankful for the opportunity to be able to take college classes while I am still in high school. Let's go Pacific.
Our next steps. Some of the next steps that we plan on taking in this area include ensuring that the college courses are offered within the school day, which increases access to these courses for more students. Schools are working to create support systems for students taking dual enrollment so they have a better chance of succeeding in the courses. Current participation in college course enrollment is at a 10%, which means 1 out of every 10 high school students for San Bernardino City Unified School District currently is participating in a college credit course. We are expecting a massive increase in this area. Schools have created a 3 to 5 year plan for dual enrollment expansion. Soon we will need a full release dual enrollment staff and extra resources for textbooks and such to support our high schools and our students in expanding this area. And I will now move on to our next part, which is our CTE pathways. Yes, questions?
Ms. Medina?
No, thank you also again for the presentation. I also want to acknowledge that Dr. Flores and I know a few board members, we actually pushed for dual enrollment about 3 years ago and with the president. And so it's been something that we've been moving. We've seen middle college, high school have such great success, and we were pushing now to make sure that all of our high schools were providing that opportunity. So I know that it's been a long time, 3 years, but I know that we're definitely, again, moving in the right direction. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Medina.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. Ms. Chahusky?
Yes, looking at the next steps and given where things may be, how are you seeing or that we can either, what does the dedicated staff and budget look like, or where can we redirect, or, I know there's a lot we want to accomplish. And I'm a little concerned about the state budget over the next few years. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do we do that, or what do you see with the vision for what we might do to try to support?
As I mentioned, schools are all, there's no stopping the schools now because they are all into this dual enrollment. So it's a lot of opportunities for our students. So the goal is for us, and the cabinet would absolutely, and Mr. Ariano would absolutely love that, go back and ask what resources and support the schools need. So my job would be to go back and get that list and then turn over that recommendation to the cabinet and the superintendent. And, it's always been like the FTE classes. So schools have been supported a lot, and thank you both for that. And we will come back to you. I just don't want to say just few recommendations. We may come back with a big list. So I just want to make sure that we are very thoughtful in what we are asking you.
We get it prioritized, because
yes,
if it's a big
list,
no,
I'll be first in the line.
Pick like number 106.
Yeah, I'll be first in the line to come and ask you, hey, we need this for our dual enrollment. We're very excited about this for our students.
Ms. Medina?
And I do have one more question. In one of the slides, it did show, like, for instance, the A through F courses. And this was where it says 2019/20 to 2022/23, A through G early college credits. And I did notice a decline. This was back in 2021. We were doing okay, and then we went down a little bit in 2022. Is there any reasons why we would say that it went down a little bit?
The one that says A through G early college credits?
Yes, and the A through F courses.
Okay, so if you can see, the gray bar for A through F has gone up.
Yes.
Under AF. And then automatically the elective has gone down. So pretty much it is, out of all the courses that the schools, the students take, either they come under A through F category or they come under the elective category. So naturally, that's going to be a balance. If this goes up and this goes up, this comes down. So at that particular year, there were more courses that were towards A through F. And we have been encouraging our schools to push through it. So that way, we satisfy the A through G requirement, and plus they get the college credit. Okay. We have been pushing for that.
All right, thank you for clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Biles?
Yes, thank you so much for that information so far. I just was looking, I want to go back to, I think it was slide 7. your A through G percentages for the 21 through 23 school year. And I've noticed that, we're, like you mentioned, we're trending in the right direction, which pleases me to see. And absolutely, I see almost a 10% increase with the African American population, which is amazing to see as well. My biggest concern, though, is our three other groups, right? So our English language learners, our students with disabilities, and then our foster youth. They not only are amongst the lowest of all the groups, but their increase hasn't been as significant as some of these other groups have made. So I guess my two questions are, why haven't we seen some increases in those three groups? As much as we've seen in some of the other groups, and what are reasons to it, and also resources that may be needed to support them?
Thank you for the question. That was we looked at the data, and we had the same questions on why just the three groups have not moved. We have some idea about the EL. There's a lot of newcomers that come into high schools, so they have to just reclassify and then get into all those A through G classes. So it becomes a little bit more challenging, but we are trying to make sure that how can we reclassify them faster so that they can get into those A through G classes. And with foster and youth and homeless, for some time we have been having a trend that was moving up, and we definitely want to go back and look into it and see where exactly, what kind of supports. And as I said, like this time specifically, the moment we saw the data, our superintendent and Mrs. Applegate have been trying to provide more supports for our students. And I know we'll be working with also Dr. Rodriguez in order to identify what exactly are the supports that are needed that could actually help them out.
So we don't know exactly what are some of the reasons?
Because that data for homeless always, it's like it goes up and down. So that is one thing we really want to get our handle on from one year to the other. What is the common trend across the board? So we are going to look at the last 5 to 6 years and see it's not always been low. So we go up and down on the homeless data. So we want to see what exactly it is. How can we stabilize that? That's one thing we have definitely have to look into it.
Got it. I understand. And then for the English learners, I know that, and I may not be as versed as some previous board members were, but I know that there's differences between newcomers opposed to, there's a term that we call them, that it's long-term
English learners.
Right. And so maybe also having some of that data desegregated, because in this section, or in this category of English language learners, I don't know who's what. And so I can understand some of the rationale behind newcomers, right? And the challenges that they pose are going to be different from long-term, English language learners. And so I want to make sure that, for newcomers, of course, right, they need specific type of supports. But then for long-standing English learners, what is it that we're missing? Okay.
So we will get that data to you.
Thank you.
As well as maybe adding reclassification so we can see that as well.
Ms. Medina, we had a comment from Ms. Rojo, I believe it is.
Hi, my name is Daisy Rojo. I'm a senior again at Middle College High School, where I take dual enrollment classes. I just had an idea regarding if we can bring up the concerns or the difference between dual enrollment classes, where you take college classes and high school in person and not at middle college, and then comparing that to middle college, and how we can sort of the issue of classes wise, this. One thing that helps with middle college was the amount of time school is and how much extra time we have for those classes. So sort of implementing, I know there is regulations and laws between how much hours you need to be in school, but if there's possible to create more middle colleges to implement more access to dual enrollment classes and not just one course a semester, but as middle college does around 2 to 3 courses a semester. How we can look into discussing the differences between those two schools.
Or you're saying don't lose sight on expanding middle college?
Correct.
Thank you. We'll look into it.
I should say that you are a visionary because we are trying to, we have just started that small scale in Arroyo Valley right now.
Right, that's correct. There's 2
And
schools.
thank you for that. So you're thinking ahead. So we are starting that. There would be an opportunity. Right now, Indian Springs and Pacific, they have like most of their school students in the college courses. So you're thinking in the right direction. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay. You can continue.
Pathways. We have a total of 54 pathways, 11 gold and 20 silver certified pathways that accounts for 57.4% of all our pathways, being recognized as high quality. 7,401 students out of 12,379 high schoolers are enrolled in a pathway. That's 60% of all our high school students. Our pathways represent 12 out of 15 California industry sectors. And you can actually see the industry sectors in the tab 2 of your folder, where we have listed all our industry partners. We have over 150 industry partners established, and all our student and program groups are represented in our pathways. And this graph shows the A through G rate among students that did not complete a pathway versus A through G students, A through G among students who completed a pathway. All are graduates. The definition of a pathway completer is to take a sequence of 2 courses in the same pathway with a C or better in the completer course. For example, a total of 270 African American students were successful in the A through G completion. 181 students did not complete a pathway, while 89 students completed a pathway. The total numbers are at the bottom of the graph as completers and non-completers. The A through G rate among non-completers is 35%. That is represented in the orange bar. The A through G rate among pathway completers is at a 55%. That is represented by the gray bar. There is a 19% jump in the A through G completion rates between students that were not pathway completers versus pathway completers. We can see a similar trend across board. Pathway completers successfully complete A through G in much higher rates among all student groups and program groups. We hypothesize that being in a pathway increases their school connectedness and makes their learning more meaningful. And graduates completing a CTE pathway increasingly earn more college credits than students who are not completing a pathway. However, you notice a different trend among our homeless youth. Many of the college courses till now were only offered after school and online. It's possible that our homeless students found it more challenging to do the courses outside of their school day. With us beginning to offer dual enrollment as part of the regular school day, we look forward to reversing this trend and shifting in a positive direction. And the participation rate will also increase in all the student groups because of this. From a large district perspective, it's always important to ensure that there are systems that move towards excellence occurring everywhere. When college and career and secondary ed merged, we noticed that not all pathways were providing the same opportunities and experiences for our students. So we embarked on developing a framework that would serve as a guiding document on what a purposeful pathway should look like. This is a collaborative work with SBTA and our school site leads. We identified 6 tenets every pathway should have. We agreed that this will make sure that we create opportunities to students no matter which school they go to in SBC USD. Our first tenet is to see if they have a 2-year course sequence and whether every course is A through G approved. I'm happy to say that we have 100% of all our A through G, all our pathway courses A through G approved. Our second tenet is that every pathway must lead to or provide an opportunity for a dual enrollment, articulation, or a certification. Our third tenet will be for our pathways to offer industry-connected certifications for job skills and employability skills. Our fourth is that all college courses leading out of pathways are college transferable. Then fifth, effective pathways also rely on strong industry partnerships who provide us feedback to the relevance of the curriculum and skills needed in the future. Our final piece is workplace learning. This is a huge part of each pathway, which will help students showcase what they have learned into the field. We can now have students answer the age-old question, when will I ever use this? That'll be our final and 6th tenet. And we have invited our Linked Learning Alliance to conduct a thorough review of our pathways using the 6 tenets. We will be bringing forth their report on our recommendations to the board. At this time, I want to introduce Laura Smith, who is our program specialist, who will also introduce another amazing human positively impacted by our district, and that is homegrown.
Good evening. I'm Laura Smith, and I am a Linked Learning Program Specialist for Secondary Education, College, and Career. Before my position at the district office, I led the Teaching Academy at Arroyo Valley High School since its inception. I used to tell people I had the best job ever. I got to teach high school students about the teaching profession, hopefully inspiring them and motivating them to pursue a career in education. Every teacher knows there are so many success stories out there, but I have the pleasure of seeing my success stories right here, teaching and working right next to me in San Bernardino City Unified as my colleagues. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing one of my success stories from the class of 2017. One of the teachers right here in San Bernardino City Unified started in the Teaching Academy as a quiet 10th grader sitting in the back of the room. After looping with my students for 3 years, this amazing human developed not only technical skills, leadership skills, but was also able to advocate for himself. And he ran for president of the Teaching Academy as a senior. This young man completed his senior internship in our digital media class on campus, and then was able to come back as a college intern when he was a student at Cal State San Bernardino. He continued developing his skills in digital media, photography, and IT. He was able to earn 3 CTE credentials, teaching credentials, and is now my colleague teaching at Arroyo Valley High School in the same Digital Media Arts Academy where he started as a senior intern back in 2017. I would like to introduce Mr. Eduardo Mejia Lopez.
Superintendent Arellano, President Tillman, Vice President Ceballos, Cabinet. Before I get started, I want to go ahead and just thank Ms. Smith. It's an honor to be here, and I lost my track of my notes. Before I share my, I guess you could say my journey through the San Bernardino City Unified School District, if it wasn't for Ms. Smith, I wouldn't be here today. Everything that she's done and taught me, and now being a colleague, it's been an amazing journey. It was the academy that you started back in 2002 that allowed me, as well as many other teachers in our district, to go and continue this and be in this profession. So thank you. All right. So after attending Davidson Elementary School for kinder through all the way to 6th grade, I attended Shannon Hills Middle School, where I was, as Ms. Smith said, the quiet kid who kind of just sat in the back of the classroom and kind of just got by with straight C's, right? So after being promoted, I found my way at Arroyo Valley High School, where I was first exposed to the career pathways. And I applied my freshman year going into my sophomore year to be a part of the teaching academy. And this is where the turning point of my life, I feel, came. Through my journeys at Arroyo Valley, I learned pretty much the ins and outs of what it is to be a teacher, what it is to make connections with students, and as well as gaining experience in the digital media arts, and that's where this unfolded. I grew a love for photography and filmmaking during my senior year, and it's where I got to do my senior internship with Mr. Richard Wilshire, who is now at Middle College. Once I graduated from Arroyo in 2017, I worked around the community and attended Cal State San Bernardino, where I majored in graphic design. But it was thanks to the connections that I had made at Arroyo Valley and in my career pathway, I was able to land a career internship at Dominguez Elementary. After a few short months, I somehow found my way back at Arroyo Valley High School as another college intern, and I worked alongside Miss Laura Gallardo, Mr. Dimitri Konopoulos, and Miss Natasha Flores to help shine some light on Arroyo and everything that they've accomplished ever since then, and we created the We Are Arroyo video. After 3 years of interning, COVID hit and life happened. I graduated with Cal State San Bernardino with my BA in graphic design, worked around the community, and ultimately got my CTE credential in 3 different industry sectors. I was finally able to make the full circle and get a job at teaching at Arroyo Valley High School, my alma mater. And back in 2021, where I can now give back to the school and community that gave me so much. From being the kid in primary that was able to get by with straight C's, to graduating to the top of my class, to now teaching at my alma mater, none of this could have been possible if it wasn't for the abundance of career readiness that I got through my experience here at Arroyo Valley High School and at SBC USD. Lastly, I just want to recognize another AVHS alumni who is currently one of our interns, Miss Angelica Trevino. Stand up. Who, if we're lucky, will be a future CTE teacher and be one of the next SBC USD success stories. Thank you.
Next steps. As mentioned previously, Linked Learning Alliance is using our integrated framework to interview sites, observe practices, and compile a report on the status of our pathways. Schools are also developing a multi-year plan for sustainability. We are actively working on recruiting all student and program groups, as the data is very clear that pathway completion help students to be successful academically. We are also recommending that our students retain the district email ID 1 year after they graduate, so we can successfully track how life is for our students after high school. And this brings us to our last part, work-based learning. Questions?
All right, and just really quickly, again, just to kind of give the new board members a little history. So back, actually this was the idea of Dr. Flores, Barbara Flores, we're trying to grow our own in the for the educators and push for an educator pathway. And we later on in the years, I think this was about maybe 6 years ago, we partnered with Cal State San Bernardino and created the Promise. So for those students that graduated from our school district and went to Cal State San Bernardino, if they came back as a teacher, we would automatically guarantee that they would be coming in our school district. So, I mean, these are partnerships that we've been building, And just to see it, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and now to see where we're at today, just shows that it is working. Now, I guess as we move forward, trying to look at the accountability and seeing how many students are fully completing it. And like you mentioned, trying to look at solutions of how do we keep in touch for those students that we don't know where, the success stories. And maybe there's more success stories, maybe there isn't enough. And so I think it's a good way to try to keep track on those stories afterwards. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Over the next 3 years, employment in the city of San Bernardino, just the city of San Bernardino, is projected to expand by 4,584 jobs. And our pathways are directly aligned to meet the needs of our local labor market, which will be illustrated in the next few slides. SBCUSD is directly represented on the San Bernardino County Workforce Development Board by Superintendent Ariano. Student industry certifications have increased each year, leading to a skilled workforce preparation. So far, we have 1,513 industry certification earned just in the first semester of this year. Last year, for the entire year, it was a total of 1,608 certifications. SBCUSD is proud to be the first K-12 school district to have a state-authorized apprenticeship program by the California Division of Apprenticeship Standards. This means that we not only educated our students through pathways, but have also become an authorized employer to certify their work experience through the apprenticeship program. In the Behavioral Health and Human Resources pathway at Cajon High School, select graduates are hired into an apprenticeship program, which allows them to be paid while they receive training to become an authorized community health worker. And they will be working with the Swiss department, I suppose, from next year. Once they complete 1 year apprenticeship, they receive a certificate from the state, which allows them to be directly hired in the profession of the community health worker. Thanks to Mr. Chris Peters. I hope he's here today. Who is the visionary behind this program? This is an incredible opportunity for our students, and hope we can also extend this to other pathways and industry sectors. Thank you, Mr. Peters. Our department recently requested a specialized report from the San Bernardino County Workforce Development on the projected jobs for the city of San Bernardino over the next 3 years. As you can see in the graph, there are nearly 4,584 anticipated jobs right here in the city of San Bernardino in categories aligned to our high school pathways. 470 jobs will be occurring in the education sector, 680 in healthcare, 710 in public administration, and 1,000 in the transportation sector. It happens in the city of San Bernardino and right here. I would like to highlight just one of these industry sectors to illustrate the alignment of our pathways. As you can see, within just the healthcare, there are 680 job openings. Our pathways under the healthcare sector are biomedical, psychology, sports medicine, patient care, and dental care, to name a few. Cajon, Indian Springs, Pacific, San Andreas, San Gregorio, and Sierra have different health pathways that are preparing our students for these job openings. Each of these schools also work very closely with industry experts in order to gain valuable insight into what the specific workforce needs are to adequately prepare our students. We really didn't quantify this, but the moment we got the data and we started making the connection, we were just blown away. I wanted to just bring this to you and show how much of a connection that the schools have made. I just want to congratulate and applaud the schools for their tremendous work on this. Over the last 3 years, we have consistently increased the number and variety of experiences in local industries through micro-internships, internships, pre-apprenticeships, and apprenticeships. The glossary of terms in your folders will give you the definition of each one of these work-based learning experiences. This slide gives you a snapshot of the types of work experiences our students are able to participate in during and after high school. In 2022-23, nearly 479 students participated in either a micro-internship or internship, which helped expose them to industry sectors in our area. Last school year, 142 of our students had the opportunity to be involved in a pre-apprenticeship, which gives them a direct opportunity to work with local companies such as Grid Alternatives, a local solar company working with Arroyo Valley High School. The new apprenticeship program at Cajon High School has 12 of our graduates from the class of 2023 currently working as apprentices at Cajon High School, and we look forward to increasing that next year. As a district, we are deeply committed to increasing the work-based learning experiences for our students by multifold in the next few years. We are coming to a close. This chart defines the total number of certifications earned by industry sector. This is just last year. This year, we are already hitting 1,500 by the semester one. In 22-23, our students in Pathways earned over 600 certifications. And as you can see, nearly every industry sector has been represented here. The vast majority fell under healthcare due to our students attaining certifications in CPR and first aid, which is recognized by nearly all employers as a valuable skill set. We are going to greatly surpass this number for the current school year. As a K-12 district, we are building the foundation for a strong San Bernardino and for advancing prosperity, opportunity, and growth in our community. We want to make sure that we help our local community needs by ensuring that we produce high quality, high tech, and high skilled experiences for our students who can go to take on all the job openings that are existing in our community and elsewhere. In fact, just within the San Bernardino County government, 22,000 positions, 20% remain vacant. By ensuring that students are exposed to what is available in our community, they can learn and earn right here. In conclusion, our amazing linked learning program specialists wanted to shine some light on the incredible opportunities available to our Pathway students. Please enjoy some of their pictures. And thank you, and that concludes our presentation.
Thank you. We had a question from Mrs. Alexander.
Thank you. Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I would like to say thank you for such a great presentation and extremely thorough in the intention behind it. I wanted to focus on a couple items related to the purposeful pathways. So I just, first of all, just wanted to say that the slide where you're highlighting the industries and how we're aligning the positions to the industries that we have in our county is excellent. And definitely is a testimony to the purpose behind our pathway programs and what we're doing within all of our linked learning programs for the different schools. I wanted to ask you a question related to just, do we have
We cannot hear you,
Pull
Ms.
out a little bit more about
Ms.
how
Alexander. You might want to turn off the video part. We can't hear you right now. Just go audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure what you didn't hear, so I want to go back to the question. One, just saying thank you for the presentation and the details related to the linked learning program. Just had a couple of questions related to just how are we developing the linked learning programs from primary years into high school years. There are some linked learning programs that start in elementary school, so could you just expound on that a little bit?
So, again, thanks to the vision of Superintendent Ariano, we have a STEM director, and Mr. Clyde is here. So his idea is to develop that K-8 pathways, and Dr. Clyde and I on my team, we work together to make sure that the pathways that start at the middle school level and the elementary school level have a clean transition towards the existing pathway in the high schools. Since we are having like 12 out of 15 industry sectors, no matter what kind of STEM field he starts, there is always a connection that we are able to make somewhere. So so right now we are backward mapping because of that. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, but just pulling on it, don't we have STEM programs currently today?
We do have currently STEM program. For example, Indian Springs and Curtis, they are connected. And what is that elementary school? Chavez has a program that can be easily transitioned to our high school pathways. And now we are trying to get more to the elementary schools and starting to see those connections. And one of the things that Dr. Clyde and I, with my team, we are planning to do is to just show that and articulate that existing connections on how they are happening. We are very primed to do that.
Dr. Venkatesan wanted to add that we have 10 pilot elementary schools, one of which is Warm Springs that will directly feed into Curtis and then into Indian Springs. So we are backward mapping, and we currently have 10 that are full on board.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we highlight that because the programs are definitely excellent. One area that I didn't hear that I was hoping that you could just expound on, how are students selected to participate in the pathway programs? Who does it and how do they qualify?
Thank you. There's actually no selection process or specific requirements to enter any pathway. It is open to all students, and I would say the only limiting factor is the seats that are available in the pathway. And again, most sites have an interest form that they collect, and our students reach out to the counselors if they have interest in a specific pathway. And also what they do, if let's say a ninth grader is already not involved in a pathway, at the end of their ninth grade, they are able to make a choice. Actually, they only need 2 years to be certified as completers. So some students may not take pathways at ninth grade. At the end of the school year, they may come and say, I want to be involved in this. Are you able to hear me? Ms.
Yes,
Alex?
I can hear you.
And then some of them, and almost every pathway or the schools go into 8th grade, go into their middle schools and do their pathway presentations on a regular basis. So probably it's already happening right now at this is the probably prime time for them to do that. And then they complete their cross registration that way. So there are different forms in which they reach out. And if there are any students that feel that they were not part of the pathway, my recommendation would be that they wanted to be and they are not able to be part in the path. My recommendation would be to reach out to the vice principal or the principal, and they would be able to really support the students in making sure that they are able to be in the part of the pathway.
Excellent. Sorry, I have a couple more questions, and I apologize that I'm not there. I'm on a business trip. So, one is ask you a question related to just the overall alignment, working with the business, the workforce development with the county. Can you pull on it a little bit, and what does that mean in terms of securing jobs? What are we doing with the county?
That's why we have Superintendent Ariano to make those recommendations to the county board. So he's part of the thing, and we have developed great relationship with our county thanks to our newly hired workforce coordinator Chelsea, who has got amazing connections. We even recently attended one of their luncheons, and there are job openings in the county. All we have to do is just to keep the communications open and look for every apprenticeship opportunity and internship opportunities. And I know, Mr. Tillman, you work in the county office, right? We are going to reach out to you for internships. So we are going to make sure that we tap all the doors and make sure that there are options for us to, get our students to have those work experiences. We are being very aggressive about how we are pursuing the work-based experiences because it is translating to some of the teachers that you saw today, the experiences that they have, and we are leaving no stone unturned.
Are you done, Mrs. Alexander?
I can see that. And lastly, I wanted to highlight your types of work experiences with the micro internships. That's excellent. Just demonstrating what we're able to do and how we're equipping our scholars. That's excellent. So thank you. Now I'm done.
Thank you for your questions.
Thank you. Mrs. Grande?
Well, I just want to tell you thank you very much, and I want our listeners to remember Tuesday's May 7th board meeting, because I think everybody in the community needs to hear what you just had to say and share with us. I'm for one, it's one of those nights where I feel really blessed and happy to be on this school board at this particular time, knowing full well that we're standing on the shoulders of people who came before us. But it just so happens this is our time here, and I'm so proud and happy, especially of all our hardworking people. And then on that, I like when you say you're going to tap the doors, because as you're talking, we just went to a Garner Holt event, and he's one of our partners, and he's just wonderful. And we're right in the next door neighbor to Esri. So I just wonder, are we going to be doing anything with them? Are we knocking on their doors? I see careers and development. We have so many partners that we could have in nonprofit organizations. I have two daughters that have been involved with Ron McDonald, and In-N-Out is going to come in and really big. They want to build hospitals too, and also cybersecurity and AI. So it just you just start everything moving, and I honor you for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And in your folder, we have industry partnerships that we have listed that the schools have worked and developed. We have around 159 of them, and we have categorized them under different industry sectors. And I would be surprised if they have left anything not tapped, but we will definitely pounce on that right away. We'll make sure that we use every one of them. And thank you for that.
Thank you, Mrs. Grande. Mrs. Medina?
Yes, I have several questions. So I know that we have the folder here, and I believe several years ago we had a large document that showed all the career pathways for each of the high schools and the different partnerships. I'm glad that now we're doing it to a single page, double-sided page for each of the high schools. Are these available online, or if it's not, can we make it available? Because I know that before we had a different type. It was a larger document that listed every site with the different pathways. I think this is a lot better, so that way those can see it. So if we don't have it, please add it to the website. And also looking at adding the industry partners, looking at all of that information that can also be helpful for community members that want to see who are we partnering with. And I know that we do apprenticeship programs. We also have several unions that we are working with for the apprenticeship programs, and then also making sure people see that as well. We have several of them, and that way they can also see that we are moving in that direction as well.
Yeah, we will work with communications and make sure that, we have all the details up in our San Bernardino City website.
Yes.
Thank you for that. That's a good recommendation.
Yeah, and I do want to acknowledge too, former board member Mike Gallo, who passed away. This was his big push, and when it came to career pathways, looking at Link Learning when it first started, when he came on board, and then looking at the apprenticeship program. And I believe it was about 4 years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago, we actually had a paid program that we were able to receive. And we had many students participate in that. And I see several heads nodding, and through partnerships. And so I was wondering, I know it seems like we're at a different scale, but back then we were at a larger scale. How do we go back to what we were able to receive partnerships with several organizations, and try to get those as paid positions, and maybe even garner. And I know with budgets, we want to look at how do we separate a budget for those paid internship programs that we once offered a few years ago. So looking at that as well.
We'll come back to you with some recommendations.
Yes, and so that way also the board members can see we also did that. I mean, at a large scale, which was amazing too. And with regards to transportation, this was one of my issues many years ago, and it's still today. A lot of these schools, the idea was to have, at least for me, schools of choice, because I might be I want to be a nurse, but it's not necessarily at all school sites. And we don't want to I mean, how could you offer it at all school sites? But if there's a student that can't, let's just say, as an example, San Gregorio, and live in that area, but they want to go to Arroyo Valley, or they want to go to Cajon because they have a specific career pathway that I don't have in my school district, in my school, high school. So then how do we, and maybe this could be something that we can still think about, how do we provide those students opportunities to still select a career pathway they may be passionate about that is not offered? And it would be too much to offer all these career pathways at each and every site, but how do we make those opportunities for certain students that do want to move to another site? And when you look at transportation, it can be expensive if you're doing it every day. So then what does that look like too? Just food for thought, so we can try to look at analyzing that as well when it comes to transportation. And another piece is also with ethnic studies. As part of the A through Gs, we do have ethnic studies as an A through G. And for those that do not know, that's also been a big push from our school district, even before it was passed into law. A lot of the things that you'll be hearing from our school board, we've done it before it was even passed at the state level. And so I do want to commend our school district for being ahead of the game, and even the head of the game throughout the whole inland region. You know, we're the first of many in this area, and we're definitely spearheading a lot of great innovation within education. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. Ms. Shahusky?
Thank you. I was going to echo some of what Ms. Medina just said in terms of us being on the forefront. I've have the opportunity to work in another district and stuff like that. And as I talk to students there, they don't have quite the robust pathways that we have. And I'm just really proud of what we're doing here. And I want to thank you very much for doing that. I was also going to ask about, choice in terms of pathways and access, and, thinking about how we do that. I know the transfer situation is sometimes difficult as we try to deal with enrollment and everything else. But, I would also hope that we can kind of think about how we can connect students to pathways. I know for me and many students, it isn't the A through F courses that get us to go to school and stay there. It's the pathways, the sports, the STEAM, the STEM, and that really connects us to our school campuses, and keeps us engaged in that school process. So I'm hoping to do that. I know San Andreas does open houses and tours. Do the other some of the other high schools, do we have those kinds of tours that we can do, or open houses that happen that we can see? Because I haven't heard really of any since I was at the groundbreaking for Pacific, so I got to see the transportation center.
And I would ask Laura to answer this question because she attends every one of those. If you can take that question, please.
Absolutely. I think they all are very proud for people to come out and see. I would say their biggest tours are right around 8th grade recruiting time, and they invite the parents and middle school parents and families to come. but that it's not limited. But I think that's when their biggest tour time is going on, is they're showcasing their pathways for the middle school families.
It would be nice if we could just, I don't want to impose on the middle school families, because that is important, and or distract from it. But it would be nice if we can maybe find out when some of those dates are, or when they're having other open houses that might not, where we could be supportive, so that we could come and see those pathways. I think that would be really, really nice to do, because I'm excited about it. I mean, that's, for me, A-G is important. Don't get me wrong. I think college is important, but the pathways, the internships, the apprenticeships, that's, I think, what's going to put our kids over the top, in terms of their futures. The last thing I just wanted to say is, first off, Ms. Sosa and Mr. Anderson, you guys were amazing. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying up, because you really should be getting ready for school tomorrow and in bed. So along with our student board members. So I really appreciate you being here this evening. And then, it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and I got a little emotional with Mrs. Smith and Mr. Mejia Lopez, because I couldn't think of a better way to honor teacher appreciation than what you did to honor your teacher, and what your students are going to do to honor you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Husky. Mr. Biles?
So as kind of part of my final comments on this presentation, again, wonderful presentation, a lot of great information that I think a lot of us didn't know. We knew a little bit here and there, but just kind of seeing it wrapped up the way you did was really nice. And just again, to summarize some of, I guess, my earlier comments and kind of requests, I guess, so and highlights of the presentation. So I was really glad to see it broken down the way it was broken down. I did notice that in your A through G, one of the next steps that you highlighted was high D's and F grades kind of impede, students from, attaining or acquiring that A through G. And so I know that in the past, when I first got on the board, I want to say like the first year, we used to, and I was still kind of learning the rotation of things, we used to get presentations kind of on a regular basis at every board meeting on certain topics. And I think that I want to kind of see that come back, whether it's something that we plan towards, the beginning of the year, of what kind of presentations we want for the following year, because D's and F's was definitely one of those that we would kind of get updates on a regular basis. And so I would want to see that come back. In addition to that, obviously, the request that I had made earlier, desegregating the data between the newcomers and the LTELs for data purposes, as well as reclassification, thank you. But as we also get other presentations about how our students are doing, with the CASP testing and all of these, that data also be desegregated between elementary and secondary. So CASP, specifically CASP results, test results for elementary and secondary, because again, all of this kind of supports, by the time they get to high school, where some of our students kind of end up on their paths. I also wanted to say, I was really glad to see that we're going to be moving to or at least working towards the dual enrollment being during the day. I think that that's really important. Earlier, we heard about a student talk about his exposure to, dual enrollment while in college, and how he became more comfortable with the process. I think that that's really important, especially as a first-generation college student attendee, which I myself am. It is extremely nerve-wracking. It is a whole nother beast to kind of, bureaucracy to kind of navigate through. And if you have to do it on your own, it's very intimidating. Just even to walk sometimes on the campus, if you don't have anybody, like any family members, or have never been exposed to a campus, just walking onto the campus, even at San Bernardino Valley College, let alone a 4-year university. And I base it off of experience, because walking on that campus, I started at San Bernardino Valley College as a first college attendee in my immediate and extended family. So I'm really glad to see that some of those barriers are kind of coming down, because a lot of students don't make it just because of that fear, because of that barrier. And then also, I really wanted to also congratulate, obviously, Cajon. You know, Mr. Peters, I think that they came, I think he might have left, but they came and they did a presentation for the board a little while back on their behavioral health pathway. And I'm so glad to hear that their program has gone to receive this authorized certificated provider distinction. So yeah, just congratulations. You know, I was very, very excited when they first came and presented to us. So I'm really glad to see that they've moved on in that direction. And then lastly, the question that I have for you is, do we have any connections with building trades for internships currently? And if we don't, how can we increase or even begin some of those partnerships or connections with those specific like building trades? Because I didn't see any of that.
I'm sure that there are some teachers in the room that could probably answer that better than I, but I do know that Sanji at San Gorgonio High School, their construction team under the leadership of Mark Steinbrenner built a storage, what was it? A shed for a homeless shelter, for women's homeless shelter, battered women's shelter. And they went and to the facility, built it for them, had everything, and then there was a ceremony to present it to them.
Do we have any I guess my question more specifically is, and I don't know much about some of this, but I know that there are like electricians, unions, I guess is what I'm more like asking about or alluding to that. Do we have any connections? Have we thought of or expanded or looked into any of those like unions?
Yes. Cajon High School has been, and San Bernardino, they don't have a construction pathway, but they both have been working, and Arroyo Valley with NAB2, which is Builders Trades Union, National Association of Builder Trade Union. You're being tested. And they are earning apprenticeship. They are doing pre-apprenticeships with their seniors and earning MC3 certifications, which is a multi-craft core certification that can get them into jobs in multiple trades. So it is, that's NAB2, I believe, National Association of Builders Trade Union. And then San Bernardino High School is doing an extra program outside of their pathways because they don't have a construction pathway with.
And it's also, I just want to note, it's also in the booklet, and you will.
IBEW.
IBEW. There's also the sheet metal workers unions. We have Teamsters. I mean, Teamsters. Yes. There's so many different unions.
Yes,
and that's why I think it's
we
so
do
important.
have 159 listed
Hold on
there.
a second. I want to make sure.
So we, we will. But thank you for your question. One thing I want to say is, with this presentation, we have not even scratched the surface. I've not done justice to the schools and their work with this presentation, because they are doing so much work out of their passion, and they have done so much. There's no way that I can quantify everything here. That's why we wanted to make sure that the major pointers are provided to the board. But we will be happy to provide you more for your specific questions. We will definitely do a Friday update on those.
Thank you. And sorry, I know I had said the last one, but two more things. I do want to say kudos to I think it was Indian Springs High School for their amazing jump on their data. I was seeing when you were going over the increase. I can't remember what exactly, but they had made a tremendous increase, and I think it was on their students that were participating on pathways. So good job to Indian Springs. Specifically. And then in your pathways towards the end of the presentation, on the different areas for the 3 years, over the next 3 years employment in the city. I know that I had recently been invited to a pinning ceremony at San Bernardino Valley College this week, actually, for their pharmacy tech. I've been hearing a lot of that specific, I guess, pathway, if you will. And I didn't see it mentioned here anywhere. So just kind of wanted to mention that because I've been hearing really good things about that specific, those specific courses as well. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Medina?
Yes, and just to kind of we do have many unions that are part of the school district that are partnering with our operating engineers and just so many of the building trades, Riverside County as well, San Bernardino County, the carpenters and so forth. I just wanted to ask, is there an advisory council, or how are you going to look at really analyzing the pathways that we currently have? And is there a council? And if there's a council, can certain community groups also be part of it and make suggestions, or just hear? Sometimes it's just good for individuals to listen to
There
what
is
we're
a
already
CTE
doing.
advisory council that meets every year, and jointly it's made up of our CTE teachers and our program specialists, our industry partners, our community partners. And they actually, I think Dr. Flores, when she was here, she attended one or two, I remember. And then they talk about what are the, we look at what has happened, we share the data that we share with them, and then they also jointly establish certain recommendations. And then the next year, we go and, we actually let them know how far we are in meeting those targets that are established.
Okay.
Yes,
And
there
if-
is an advisory.
And if those are interested in attending, do they just reach out to you? and let
We
you
will
know?
send an invite to all the, board members, and we will
Okay.
send the invite to all the cabinet members.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. You mentioned reaching out to the county. I actually retired from the county in 2022.
Well, you did.
After 42 years. But one of those years was actually working while I was in high school. And I really think that's the piece that's missing. When our students are going through these pathways and taking all these classes in school, the thought is always, how's it going to be applied? And I was fortunate to be hired at the time as a student aide. So you work the summer before your senior year. And because I had typing and I had, at that time it was a drafting class, then they put me in a place called Water Resources, Hydrology. And I was a backup for the secretary, and I did some drafting on wall maps, they call them. But my point is, we don't do enough to take advantage of that. Even the district should have a certain number of internships set aside, I think, for the summer before their senior year, if they want to apply to work. And then also for the ones that do well, and they have enough of their class completed to work half days. And I think we should, thank you, and I think we should work with the county on the same thing. The county's missing the opportunity. They need the employees. They want to get the employees acclimated as soon as possible, but there's this missing link. And I think if we just start the communication, it'll help, so we can meet with either Luther Stokes, who's the CEO, or Diane Alexander. I know that Alexander will be interested, but we need to do the timing. So right now, we should have advertisement for our students saying, if you're going to be a senior, you can apply for these internships at the county and the school district. We have every business represented in the pathways. The county has a county hospital. They have mechanics. They have engineering. They have tech, everything. So, but we're not taking advantage of it. So we need to put somebody on point, Mr. Arellano, to do that. And I know the county will be willing to do it. But I got to stress one thing. It has to be advertised to all the students. I actually got the ad in the paper. It was an advertisement for a student aid position, and I applied. I wasn't the type of student where any teacher would have said, "Hey, Danny, you should go apply for this internship." They didn't see me that way. I just wasn't that kind of kid. But I knew what I wanted internally. I had a lot of confidence in myself, and so when I applied, everything I had learned enabled me to get that job. But and I was what you would call a disenfranchised. I was from a disenfranchised community because I didn't have anybody that worked there and knew anybody. I wasn't connected. And we still have a lot of students just like that. And we have to find a way to expose them to the opportunities that will allow them to use all these things that we're teaching them. That's the key. And the students will never know all of the positions that exist in these big organizations until they get there. And then that's where you learn that it's important to, learn the technical part of it, but you got to learn how to get along with people and be nice to people. And that's how you build relationships to have a long career, you know what I mean? So I just hope that we start with ourselves first. Everybody ought to know how many internships we're going to have every year. And then when they're full. But all the students should have the opportunity to apply for them. And based on their pathways, that gives them, better chances at the different areas within our district. But we want to do the same thing at the county and other organizations. I think it'll be great.
Thank you.
And I'll be willing to volunteer for a committee. Yeah. Thank you very much, and thank you for a great presentation.
Thank you.
Section 9.1, discussion of possible naming of a district space for Gil Navarro. I agendize this to see if any board members have any ideas of rooms that you make. Yes, Ms. Grande.
We could have one at Anderson School. He was highly involved with special education students.
Good idea. Superintendent, can you work? Writing it down. Okay. Ms. Medina?
Maybe at, we have another one, Harmon, is it Harmon?
Carmack,
yeah.
Yeah, they weren't as contentious.
No. Okay.
Mr. Bios?
As far as specific location, I'm not sure, but I think I would agree with maybe something related to special education. I know that their main office is over there in Highland, so I don't know if there's a space over there somewhere.
Oh, the WA, it's always been called the WA. It's the West Highland Annex. And I was told that they were going to be moving to a new place one day, and maybe in the new building, wherever they're going to wind up, that could be the Gil Navarro room or area. Didn't I hear it was going to the PDC or eventually?
They are moving somewhere. I don't know exactly where. It's very coming.
Okay, well, so that's what I'm saying,
So we'll charge the superintendent with looking at potential rooms at Anderson, you said Carmack, and then wherever they're going to move the new special education.
Yeah, it's supposed to be something nice, right? Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'm good with the Anderson. I like the idea at Anderson. I thought that was a really good one to name a room or something there in his honor.
Thank you very much. Section 10, action items. 10.1, personnel report.
As presented.
Moved by Mr. Husky.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Wyatt. Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. 10.2, approval of the temporary borrowing between funds of school district for fiscal year 2024, 2025. Need a motion?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Husky and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Resolution for allowance of attendance of emergency conditions, all sites within San Bernardino City Unified School District.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Husky,
Second.
second by Mrs. Alexander. Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Ten point four, resolution approving and authorizing the superintendent to execute property lease agreement with San Bernardino County Fire Protection District. Motion, please.
So move.
Moved by Dr. Wyatt and second by Mr. Husky. Vote, please.
Aye.
Mrs. Alexander?
Aye. Sorry about that.
Motion passed. 10.5, peer assistance and review report participation. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Alexander and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Section 11, consent items. Motion, please. Moved by Mr. Husky.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ceballos. Any items to pull?
Mr. President,
Yeah.
this is,
Go ahead, Dr. Wyatt.
I'd like to pull 11.47. I'll be abstaining. I am an employee of county schools.
11.47.
Yes, sir.
All right.
President Tillman, I'm going to pull 11.39.
11.45 and 11.39. With that, we've been moved in second. Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 11.39, business and in-service. The 62nd annual signature headdress ball, matinee performance, expanding learning. Motion, please.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Husky and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please.
Aye.
And 11.47, ratification of the renewal agreement with San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. Motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Husky and second by Ms. Ceballos. Ms. Alexander?
Aye.
Mr. President, I'll abstain.
Section 12, reports, comments by union organizations. 12.1, San Bernardino Teachers Association.
Good evening, Mr. Tillman. Can you hear me?
We can barely hear you. Can we turn our volume up? Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, President Tillman, Vice President Ceballos, Superintendent Ariano, board members, and cabinet. I am Ashley Vitas Alcala, President of the San Bernardino Teachers Association, speaking on behalf of our 3,000 members this evening. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the members and students who were here this evening, showcasing their programs and their support of our college and career programs in this district. I recently had an opportunity to visit and speak with colleagues in other districts, and the work that we're doing here and the opportunities that we are providing for our students is unmatched. I'd like to commend our members, who I know have put many hours in working on these programs to ensure that our students can achieve success no matter where life takes them. Also this evening, in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, and today being National Teacher Day, SBTA would like to express our sincere thanks to all of our members. You are strong and resilient, and your professionalism is unmatched. Most importantly, you are dedicated to your students and their families through your passion for teaching and compassion for meeting their needs. For these reasons and more, you are most deserving of all of our appreciation during this year's Teacher Appreciation Week. It is an honor to serve alongside all of you. I also want to acknowledge our school nurses because tomorrow, May 9th, is National School Nurse Day. We'd like to honor our school nurses who care for the children in our schools every day, and also to remind you that a school nurse provides more than Band-Aids. Not only are they first responders for medical concerns, but they also advocate for students and play a vital role in guiding them to healthy lifestyles. Next week, I look forward to seeing members of our board and cabinet, as SBTA will be celebrating our retirees and many of our nation's top educators at our annual Monty and Retiree Awards celebration. We look forward to celebrating with you, and if you haven't already, please let Ms. Cunningham know if you're able to attend.
What day is that event again?
What's that? It's next Thursday, May 16th.
Thank you.
I want to again sincerely thank you, our members, for all that you do each and every day to support your students from pre-K to adult ed. I salute you today and every day. You are an integral part of the fabric of our district, and I wish each and every one of you a successful end to this school year. Thank you for your time this evening.
And thank you, Ms. Alcala. 12.2, California School Employees Association.
No report.
12.3, Communication Workers of America.
No report.
12.4, San Bernardino School Police Officers Association.
No report.
Section 13, board members. I'll start from my left today. Ms. Shahusky.
Thank you. Oops, wrong page. Sorry. I wasn't ready for you to start with me. So first I wanted to mention just before COVID started, a young lady from Loma Linda University Graduate School of Public Health started a documentary on us called Verdue that highlighted a lot of our students and schools and staff, including myself. And it sort of got derailed by COVID and then restarted during COVID. But the documentary never got to see the light of day because of that. And it finally got its first public showing at the Inland Film Festival a few weeks ago. And I just wanted to give kudos to Nishita Mantangi, whose vision and dedication to this film and to our students and our community. To Marlene Bicandova for being one of the producers of the film. And then also to Dr. Gwen and Rogers and her husband Arlington, and to Dr. and Mrs. Marsden, who were also there supporting the film along with the community members. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it, I hope that you will take time to see it. It is powerful. It features our Alexander Madison and a lot of our students, our Safe Routes program. I mean, it really talks about, the tagline is, go to school, they say they just didn't tell you how hard it was to get there, and it shows a lot of the honor and the resilience and the dedication of our community to our schools. I also went to the spring awards for the San Bernardino School Boards Association, the San Bernardino County School Boards Association, and Pure Land was honored. That was really wonderful. But what I also want to highlight, because I know we've talked about that, but I want to thank Suda for helping me procure. Keith Brocky and his students at Arroyo Valley did all the centerpieces and these incredible ceramic vases with flower displays that everybody raved about. And I just wanted to thank him for, kind of doing this last minute, and then also to his students, and everyone for putting that forward. The VAP Awards, I finally got to get to something in the visual performing arts this season. And congratulations to all the honorees, the teachers, the community members, the retired folks that were honored. That was really wonderful. Went to the Inland Empire High School Black graduation at Cal State. That room was packed, or the Cruces Arena was packed. It was wonderful. It was really special. And yeah, they all knew how to party. I was having a great time with all of that kind of stuff. I just wanted to remind everybody that our next board meeting, May 21st, we're going to celebrate our student board members who are completing this year, and our 4 seniors, including 2 of them who are here tonight, and I know I'm really going to miss them. And so I just want to say congrats to our graduates, and also congratulations. Again, we really, really appreciate our teachers, our classified staff, and our nurses. We have some of the most amazing employees in this school district, and we're second to none. I have no problem touting our creativity, our passion, our dedication, and just how many of us are homegrown. I had a couple of the folks, some of the SBTA folks were telling me they were at the teacher recruitment, and they could not believe how many San Bernardino graduates were coming back to apply for teaching jobs in our district. And I think that says more about who we are than anything else could, is that we have folks that, wherever they go to college, they want to come back and teach in our district. So thank you to this board and the board before us for all that they did to make this a place that everybody wants to be.
Thank you, Mr. Husky. Mr. Bios?
Thank you. Just really quickly, I also want to say thank you to all of our wonderful teachers. Really, it is a lot that they do and a lot that we ask for. And again, I myself personally never knew or really appreciated the work that teachers do until I kind of entered education. And so, a whole new just level of admiration for the work that they do, really. So thank you to all, teachers, but especially the ones in our district. Also, thank you to our nurses as well, as again, they are, typically the first line of defense when it comes to a lot of issues our students face. I also want to say congratulations. I know that there's a lot of events coming up, and it's hard to keep up with. I will be attending a few coming up this month, in the next couple of weeks, but I did want to say congratulations to Dr. Scott Wyatt and Tex Acosta, as well as Ray Culberson, for their recognition awards, I believe yesterday or sometime earlier this week. Yesterday. And then also, I want to give a shout out to a student in our district that attends Cajon High School by the name of Montserrat is her name. She attended or participated in the pharmacy tech pathway that she will be recognized at their ceremony pinning this upcoming Friday. And so again, just a lot of wonderful things that our students are part of that sometimes we just don't even know. And so, yeah, And lastly, happy Mother's Day. Feliz Dia de las Madres to everybody out there that celebrates, whether it's on the 10th or on, the second Sunday of May. I'm fortunate enough, I do both. Double party for me. But anyway, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grande.
Well, let's see here. Oh, yes. I just wanted to share the National Orange Show. They call it a VIP night, but really there was just regular people there, and they were beautiful, and they were all people that were supporters of the Orange Show and all they're trying to do. And I actually met for the first time Dan C. Jimenez, who is the CEO, the manager, and a very humble type of guy. I really didn't understand him until we talked. And he was so excited about the last Sunshine Days that we had. He helps to put it on for all of the special education students and throughout all the districts in the Inland Empire. And you will see people there from Colton and Redlands and San Bernardino, and he does this every year. And last year was particularly successful. And so he was very excited about that. Also, he was very proud to tell me that the last Best Buddies prom there was the biggest one ever. They had 1,700 students there. And that was exciting to see that. It's really just beautiful, beautiful thing to say. I'd love to see Best Buddies in every high school. And I don't know if anyone that knows Maria Madrano. She worked with Heather at Sanji. When she became a teacher, she moved over to King Middle School. For the first time, she started the Best Buddies at the middle school. So it's something I think we should really pursue, because it's just a beautiful thing happening. So that's a really good thing. And then I also would like to know how many, in honoring our school nurses, when you're a special education teacher, that's your buddy, is the nurse, number one. And I want to know how many school nurses do we have. Also, I wanted to mention today our school nurses, they came out to support and celebrate our proposal of recognition for National School Nurse Day. But once it passed, I feel like we should have thanked them once more before moving on to our next one, because they seemed to just be waiting to be acknowledged. They weren't really quite sure, what do we do now? And I remember finally they just turned and left while we were busy doing some things. So I was thinking I would like to maybe see if we could send all of our school nurses a certificate to their home or the school site that they can hang in their office or at home. Is that reasonable? Or we could send it electronically? I'm not sure.
I think we should schedule an item to have them come down and we'll give it to them.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sounds great. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Medina?
Thank you. First of all, happy graduation to all the students. I know we have one more board meeting before then, and also Dia de las Madres. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. I also want to, I know that we've been talking about naming certain locations, like for instance with Mr. Gallo and then Gil Navarro, but I also want to look at maybe getting consensus and really looking at the Welcoming Center. And I remember speaking with Francis Grice, who passed away, who was literally the face of civil rights movement back in the day when there was segregation, and she was a fierce fighter for both Latinos and African Americans. And so I would like to recommend, and I know this would be a discussion maybe for the Welcoming Center. I know the Welcome, if you start seeing it, it's already, the frame is up, and I would really love to have a conversation of how we can, maybe there's other recommendations, but I know for myself, she really was a community organizer and spoke with families, organized parents in the civil rights movement. And when you see different individuals, she was in action. She was taking action. The stories that I would hear from her before she passed, she just didn't stand by the sidelines. She was in the action. And so I would definitely recommend and hopefully suggest that she be named as a Welcoming Center. But I would like to have it maybe agendized as future conversation to see if that's a possibility and if there's another name that's recommended. But definitely, I would support her as that.
And so we'll agendize that for a later meeting. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but it's because of Francis and the other mothers that the district was under court order to desegregate because they sued the school district. And once the order came down and they started desegregation, two of the board members got recalled. The first African American board member, who was the guy that has a church, Woods. So Reginald Woods' dad was the first African American board member, but he actually got recalled because of the busing, because of the uproar. Yeah, but Frances Rice is the one that led the charge.
Both African American and Latinos too.
That's right.
She had a huge amount of support from Latinos, and so yeah.
Next will be Dr. Wyatt.
Thank you, Mr. President. Great to see everyone tonight, even if on video. I have to echo what a number of our colleagues have said this evening and just say thank you to all of our teachers and wonderful nurses out there. Next thing I wanted to talk about, and a lot of us were there as well, is the Jaden Daniels draft party at Cajon High School, or should say celebration. As most of us and all of us pretty much know, he was drafted second overall pick for the Washington Redskins. So go Jaden and his family and the Redskins. Had a really nice evening at the Untouchables Foundation Gala with Miss Marianne Grande as well. So that was a wonderful evening, and thank you for the district sponsoring them. Let's see, this month is actually the week coming up of May 15th is Officer Memorial Week, and actually Officer Memorial Day is May 15th, so we want to keep that in mind. Recently, 4 officers were killed in the line of duty and 8 total shot in Charlotte, North Carolina. So they have a obviously important job, especially our officers protecting our students and our staff and our district. So say thank you to them. I was with a number of folks at the Education Medal of Honor, and again, congratulations to Pure Land Foundation. Just amazing, amazing work that they do, actually life-saving work they do for our community. Let's see, we also attended Anderson School Transition Night, again with Miss Grande, and great job out to all the staff at Anderson School, getting our parents and students ready for the next step in their life, a huge step for them. And then myself and 3 of our board colleagues from other districts, Marcelino Cerna from Fontana Unified and Dr. Fermin Jaramillo from Etowata School District and Jesus Holguin from Moreno Valley. We present on ethnic studies and policy at the California State PTA Conference, which created quite an amazing discourse and conversation with the folks that were in attendance, and a lot to celebrate moving forward with that. And I got to thank Dr. Vanna Katesson as well for all of the information she provided me with, so I could be very well informed for that presentation. And again, sounds like San Diego City Unified School District is doing an amazing job working with ethnic studies and taking it to the next level. As we announced last month, this month is Asian Pacific Islander Month, and it was important to bring that up. We had our Island grad ceremony recently, and I was fortunate to attend that. But more importantly, I was able to attend CAPL, and that's the California Association of Asian Pacifica Leaders in Education, and I think that's huge to say that because this is their first real big conference that they had recently down in Newport, and I would love to see more of our Asian Pacifica Islander staff, especially administrative leaders in our district, attend that, become members, so we can further educate our community as well as our staff and students on Asian Pacific Islanders and just have a greater involvement in the state. And then again, happy Mother's Day to all of our wonderful mothers out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wyatt. Mrs. Alexander.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all the teachers. Happy Nurse Week. One area I wanted to focus on is that related to just equitable compensation. I know our goal is to do that, and we just recently had our recruitment fair, but I really wanted to see, we need to focus more on the management levels. So I would like to request a report that compares our management salaries to surrounding districts or like-minded districts like ours, so urban districts, similar to San Bernardino City Unified School District. Just wanted to just make sure that we're doing right by our leaders in the district as well. Other areas, just like many colleagues mentioned, I did attend the Spring Awards. I also attended middle high school's ceremony that was for their National Honor Society, and we received an award. It was really nice. The students put it all together and just honored their partners, and I thought that was awesome. The drip squad, that's the other area that I wanted to go back to. They requested some reports. So I just want to make sure that we give them those reports that they're requesting. And in addition to that, if we have tested our water with those reports, we need to be able to be transparent with them. And I'm not saying that we're not, but it just seems like what they reported today is similar to what they reported the last time. And then,
But Mrs. Alexander, just to be clear, the lady who was the scientist and the expert said that she concurred that our testing,
I heard her.
We have safe water. So because kids say that the water is cloudy and don't taste good, doesn't mean the water's not safe.
Exactly. But it's like in anything, right? So whatever our data is, we need to share it. And I get what she said, but at the end of the day, somehow with our reports and what we're sharing with them, we need to be able to dispel what they're coming back to our board meeting sharing, or at least educate them on what we're doing and what our water is about our water. There seems to be a disconnect of some sort, and it could be just with the reports. I understand what she said, but Ms. Darcell did say they requested reports and we didn't give them to them. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight Terry Washington for his 3 gold medals for boxing. I've been seeing a lot of pictures. I haven't been able to go over and congratulate myself. I did see that we have as a district, so just wanted to highlight him, and also Jaden Daniels for getting being second draft pick for Washington. That's awesome. And then Dr. Wyatt, congratulations on your award, as well as Ray Culverson and Tex Acosta. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do want to clarify, though, that we have tested our water extensively. I only know this because over the last 3 years, it was a big deal. So we made sure that every site was tested. They came back well below the numbers that were needed to conclude that the water was safe. But even tonight, the expert that was with the group that came here, they tested the same sites the students were complaining about. And she said that it came back as safe. So we have our own data and their data, but that doesn't mean that the kids are going to come back and say, hey, the water's cloudy and it don't taste good. That could, I mean, I got family members who don't like Aquafina, some don't like Arrowhead, some don't like whatever. I can't taste water, so I don't know what they're talking about. But I do understand that some people can. But because the water tastes a certain way does not mean that the water is not safe. And the most important thing for us to be sure of is that our water is safe. If we want to say we want to try to change the look and taste, I'm fine with that. But I don't want to put any ambiguity out there in terms of whether or not the water is safe. We've done too much work in terms of doing the testing to ensure that we have safe water to even put that out there. The students just said it. You can't control what the students are going to say, but the expert said the water is safe. And that leads to me. And I also want to thank the teachers and the nurses for their great work. You know, we're one of the few districts that kept nurses and added nurses. There was a time during a tough budget crisis that we had the option to get rid of nurses and we didn't do it. And it ended up being the right decision because then we found other ways of funding the nurses, but they play a huge role for the safety of our students. And this board had the vision to say nurses are too important to not have them in the district. And so we led the charge to keep them. So I'm proud that we did. And I'd like to look for consensus to agendize a sponsorship for the Swans debutante ball. And so I want to have it agendized to ask for the sponsorship. I got consensus.
Yeah.
And our own Miss Scott is going to be one of the debutantes also. That brings us to Superintendent and staff.
Thank you, President Tillman, distinguished members of the board and community. I always like to close out the meeting, so to speak, with sharing good news about the district and where our students and our staff are shining. So I want to begin by echoing Pure Lamb Foundation that was recognized with the Medal of Honor Award, and for the 50,000 families that they have fed across our district. What a huge impact they have on our district. Next slide. And then, as mentioned, Texacosta and Scott Wyatt were recognized last night, AXA Region 12, for their outstanding leadership. We'll throw in Ray Culberson because he's an SBCUSD homie. He got recognized too, so congratulations to Scott. I know you're listening, so good job. I know Margaret Hill would be very proud of you, sir. Next slide. Excited to see our esports room at Curtis Middle School. We had the ribbon cutting ceremony yesterday, so thank you to EXL, Sandra, and Pearson, all your leadership and forethought in putting that together. The kids were super excited. I know we have another one coming at San G, and we were going to continue to expand that, so that's great motivation and the excitement for our students. So next slide. And then Terrible Terry Washington, we were invited to come to his, basically his send-off to becoming a professional boxer. Although he had trained and competed to be eligible for the Olympic team, somehow he was not able to make the team. But of course, he's so great at what he does, he's moving on into the pro ranks. So Dr. Rodriguez and I were there to cheer him on, and Mary Roan. So we're excited for Terrible Terry and everything that he's going to accomplish. Next slide. And I want to recognize Lynn Massey. She was recognized as Nurse of the Year by the Inland Empire's School Nurse Organization. And what makes Lynn outstanding in many ways, but the most outstanding piece of information, she's been in the district for 45 years serving kids in our district. So congratulations to Lynn and helping our district shine. And then next slide. And I know, board, I've been sharing with you pictures. We have a commitment to make sure that all of our campuses look as jewels of the community and that we have attractive campuses. So Terry Komnick and his crew, want to thank them, because as I drive around the district, we are starting to see paint jobs all over the place. As a matter of fact, even today when I was at Arrowhead, that was a nice surprise to see that school repainted. So Terry, I want to thank you for helping our schools look great. And just a few other shout outs that did make it out on the on my PowerPoint. I want to thank Anna, Les, and Tex for the great biliteracy awards that we had at the California Theater. Beautiful events. Thank you to Scott Nelson and team for the Visual and Performing Arts Awards. Thank you to Melissa Haynes, Program Specialist, Reina Magdaleno, APE teacher, Jennifer Lopez, AP teacher, for another wonderful and outstanding Anderson Olympics event that was supported by Joe Baca Jr., James Ramos, and I know Mary Ellen was present. Thank you. Special congratulations to James Espinosa and everyone at Middle College for being recognized as a model program by State Superintendent Tony Thurman. Congratulations to Ann Pearson for being recognized as one of the EXL champions by the San Mateo County School and Superintendent Ted Alejandre. John Carranza, Vice Principal at Adult Ed, for being recognized as an outstanding leader by the California Council for Adult Education. And the list can go on and on and on. But I think I'll end here and say our district shines because of our people. And earlier in the month, we were able to celebrate School Principals Day. We have wonderful principals. We're going to be celebrating School Nurse Appreciation, as we heard, and the great impact that they have on our students day to day. We're soon going to be celebrating Classified Employee Week later in the month and their outstanding contributions. And as you know, as research shown, the #1 impact to a student's education is the teacher. And we are celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week and Day. And so on behalf of the Board of Education and myself, everyone in Cabinet, I want to thank all of our principals, all of our school nurses, all of our classified employees, but namely our teachers. I'm in schools every week, as is Dr. Rodriguez, as is Mrs. Applegate, as is Dr. Funches and Mr. Komnick. we see it every week, the outstanding work that our teachers are doing, and our kids are better for it. So thank you. And that's all I have tonight. President Tillman, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ariano. That brings us to section 14, summary of board members' requests. 14.1, review of requests.
Good evening. The first request is from Mrs. Ceballos. She requested data to inform potential solutions to improve the water aesthetics. Mrs. Alexander asked the DRIP squad what exactly are the reports that they were requesting, and the district provide those reports. Ms. Chahetsky asked secondary education what resources are needed from the board to support their vision for the CTE linked learning pathways. Dr. Venkatesan will ask sites and provide a recommendation to cabinet. Mrs. Ceballos and Ms. Rosales Medina requested disaggregated data for EL students to differentiate newcomers and long-term EL.
As well as reclassification.
Okay, thank you. And Mrs. Alexander requested that the district look into the success of middle college high school compared to dual enrollment and replicating it. Mrs. Ceballos requested that regular updates and board presentations be scheduled, such as regular reports on Ds and Fs. President Tillman requested for the superintendent to look at spaces, possibly at Anderson, Carmack, or the WA building for Mr. Gil Navarro. Mrs. Grundy requested to know how many school nurses do we have. President Tillman requested to schedule a time when school nurses can come to the board meeting so they can be recognized. Ms. Rosales Medina requested to agendize a discussion on renaming the Welcome Resource Center. Consensus was given. And lastly, second to the last, Mrs. Alexander requested a report that compares our management salary to nearby school districts. And lastly, President Tillman requested consensus to agendize Swan sponsorship, and consensus was given. Thank you.
Just really quickly, when I asked for the reports, the section that you have on there where I request like regular board meeting report updates, I also included that any reports that include CASP information or CASP data be desegregated by secondary and elementary EL CASP results.
We do have a clarifying question on the EL data. So was it as it pertained to college and career success, you want it disaggregated by EL, reclassified, and LTEL, or just general data?
So for me, for this presentation in particular, yes, it was separation between newcomers and longstanding EL learners. But then at that same time, I made the comment and the request for regular reports. In those reports, I would like to see the data desegregated, specifically on the CASP for elementary and secondary, as well as that reclassification data.
Reclassification before, it would be separate from the EL students. So it would be a line item, just reclassification, just to see those. And it would be then separate would be the EL students, which included both the EL students and long-term, long-term. So yes. Does that make sense? No.
Yes, the English learners as defined by the states are usually not the newcomers or the reclassified. But you want that data as it pertains to the college and career presentation? Okay.
Classification was, from what I remember, maybe I'm wrong, it was a reclassification was separate. Like, for instance, you Latino, African American, then you had reclassification, reclassified, and then separate from that, it was EL students.
That's correct.
But within the EL students, there was the long-term English learners and EL students in that one section. Yes.
So that's what you're looking for as it pertains to college and career. Because we will do it anyway for the CASP and all that data, we will disaggregate. But in this particular case, you want it as it pertains to college and career. Okay, thank you.
Also, I think Ms. Rojo had a request around the middle college and the dual enrollment. She talked about like the challenges of the day at the comprehensive high school, and then was asking about the plans for middle college. I think she said something like you're ahead of the curve or something, but didn't. Yeah, an expansion and what she wanted an update or a.
That brings us to 15.1 in memoriam. Joan Quaid and Miss Rita Jackson. A moment of silence, please. Very much. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved and second. Vote. Meeting adjourned.